Fitzpatrick takes the snap, drops back, lobs it back right corner. Decker! He's got it! Touchdown! Eric Decker scores! And the Jets have won it in overtime!
This is the Jet Take with Ben Blessington and Kyle Fahey.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jet Take. I'm your host, Ben Blessington. As always, I'm joined with Kyle Fahey. Kyle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Draft night is tomorrow night. I'm hyped up, and let's hope we don't wreck the franchise by taking certain players.
Yes, every few years the draft falls on my birthday, and it does that tomorrow. So my birthday is on the same day. So for my birthday, I get to see the Jets take most likely another bus. So that'll be great. But yeah, so we're excited. We'll see. We'll have all sorts of draft coverage. We have plenty of callers lined up. We have a special caller we're going to bring on in just a few moments here. As always, you can follow us at the Jet Take on Twitter. It's probably the best place to interact with us. We love talking to the fans. Just tweet at us, even if you're trolling us, you disagree with us, you agree with us. We love to fire back. We also have a YouTube. We have an Instagram. We have a blog page, which is www.thejettake.libsyn.com. Our producer, Gangrene David, he has a YouTube. I believe it's Gangrene David. That you can go check that out, and he does some great stuff on that channel. We'll make sure to tweet out more of his videos, and we have our own YouTube as well, as I mentioned earlier, the Jet Take. Okay, Kyle.
Get busy soon. I will get busy soon. Take off.
We'll have plenty of things to talk about. But yeah, so I mean, Kyle, we've made it through the early parts of the off season. We're now hitting the draft, which is I know your favorite part of the off season, and is my favorite part of the off season. That's what as Bill Parcells used to say, that's why you lift all them weights, Kyle. That's what all those hours of film study were for. And Kyle, before we bring on our special caller, do you have any last words you want to say before we bring him on and go into our show? Any other final words you'd like to say about this whole draft process?
Not particularly about the draft process, because I think we'll talk about that enough tonight. When you mentioned David, I realized there was a part of his title missing. Was that intentional?
What'd I say?
You said producer, Gangrene.
Yeah, Kevin Sirkin from Let's Talk Jets is the primetime producer. David, let's say he's got the 5 o'clock slot.
We're recovering. Things happen.
David's the Pro Bowl producer. How about that? We'll give him Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowl. I like that. I actually like that a lot.
There we go. All right, there we go.
I think
Kevin can keep his title.
Kevin,
But all right then. Well, let's go ahead and bring on our guest, our special guest for tonight. This is Jeff Lloyd. Most knowledgeable draft minds there is. So I know Kyle was very excited to get you on the show the day before the draft. But Jeff, how you doing, man?
Guys, couldn't be better. At this point, it's just, look, let's just get it over with. Once you get to a certain point of the draft process, I mean, everything's done. Players are graded. It's just slotting up players, and the only things that can go wrong are bad things. And you see that Caleb Brantley out of Florida, obviously the whole mess that, Gary and Conley is involved in right now. Maybe the draft process is a week or two too long, but, here's we are. And, look, tomorrow night, first, Ben, happy birthday. I hope it's a good one. I hope it's a good one for you come tomorrow.
Ben, it's a failure, and you'll be better. You'll be happier.
Yeah, trading at a 6 and some more picks may make it for a happier birthday. But look, it's just time to do it here. It's like when your mom says dinner's going to be at 6 and you don't eat anything, and now it's 7:15 and you still don't have dinner and you're just aggravated, agitated. Let's just get it on already.
I like the analogy.
I love that.
I remember.
I'm fat.
Oh, Kyle's with some blazing takes. But yeah, no, I remember. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. They made the draft in like May. It was like May 10th or something. It was just terrible. But yes, I think many fans would agree that this draft process could be much shorter. Well, let's jump into it. I think by now the Jets have probably prepared for every single scenario that could happen. Given that the Jets picked 6th and not 20th like they did last year, I think it's probably easier to predict every single scenario. So I think Mike Maccagnan probably knows who he'll take, depending on what board falls out. But I agree. I think trading down is probably the best option for the New York Jets. Kyle and I have said this many times that this is the most are supposed to be one of the most talented drafts in years, and I think the Jets can really, find their roots for their organization in this draft. So you want to accumulate as many picks as possible in that top 100. So if they can trade down with Cleveland and get their second and their 12th or whatever it is, I think the Jets should definitely do it. But Jeff, I'll just start it right off the bat. Who is your ideal prospect for the New York Jets picking number 6?
Generic question.
If you're going to stay at 6, look, the Jets aren't in a position right now where you can go sexy. You can't go bold. You need safe. And look, O.J. Howard is probably the safest you can go at 6. He's going to give an extension of the offensive line where he's going to aid in the running game, a plus blocker. Obviously, you know what you have receiver-wise. You hope you're going to see more. You hope that Alabama just didn't know how to use him. Maybe the passing game didn't involve the tight end so much in Alabama, which we've seen for years from Alabama. But, plus athlete, big guy, big hands, runs well. 3-cone time speed in the area of guys like Odell Beckham and A.J. Green. So you're hoping he's a misused asset down there in his years in Tuscaloosa. If you want to look at one of the safeties, I think you may only have the option of one of them, Adams or Hooker. I think there's a good shot one of them is going to be gone before 6. If you're stuck staying at 6, and look, we have young quarterbacks who are going to play. You've got to, Hackenberg should get the ball. If he doesn't and he gets hurt, God forbid something happens, play Petty. You've got to evaluate one of these two guys. Do they pan out? That's a big question, and it's big odds. But even still, he aids the receiving core because he can do things, obviously, the shorter routes. He knows how to work the seam. If the quarterbacks don't work out, you have young receivers that you like. You have a young tight end who should be a franchise piece as the years go on. That sets you up. That fills a need. And, look, they've been trying to fill this need for 20 years now. It just makes it's so simple to just take O.J. Howard at 6 and go on from there.
I happen to agree, I think, and I know there are many Jets fans that are part of the O.J. Howard brigade. And, it's tough just because, you look at some of the Jets' biggest needs, and I know Mike McCagnon drafts the best player available, but you look at some of their biggest needs, and you mentioned tight end. You can even look at corner, safety, running back. A lot of those are deep, edge, excusing edge, are deep positions in this draft. So for me, it's like I love O.J. Howard. I think he is a safe prospect to take him at 6. At this point, I think that's probably a realistic option. But if you were to tell me that a month ago, I would have been, called you crazy. But then you look at the rest of the board. There are guys like Evan Ingram and David Njoku, and they might not get there around when the Jets pick in the second round. But I think there is solid tight end value. But I have to agree that I think O.J. Howard is definitely one of the safer picks the Jets could go with. Kyle, with the day before the draft, who is your top option for the New York Jets?
Yeah, I'm definitely going O.J. Howard as well. Nobody even compares to him blocking, tight end wise. I can't even really think of another tight end that's even half as good as him blocking. Maybe Jordan Leggett.
Kittle.
Possibility. Tight end class is full of pass catchers and not really blockers, which I guess that's what the colleges are producing these days with these more explosive offense. But O.J. Howard's that old, reliable blocker who's really going to help out whatever side of the offensive line he's on. Specifically, the tackles, which are problems for the Jets. We still don't know what we have in Brandon Show. We hope that he's good. He played well last year in the time that he started, and then Kelvin Beachum coming off a pretty bad year. So he could definitely help guys like that. And then he could be a phenomenal red zone target to perfectly pair with guys like Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson, who, and of course Eric Decker when healthy, and exception to Decker, they aren't that great of a red zone target. So it really helps out the Jets in multiple ways. I think it secures the position for at least 5 years. You never know. You're with the Jets for 5 years. You probably want to leave too. I don't blame you. So you can get a franchise player at number 6, and I think an elite one, a guy who's going to help you in multiple facets of the game. I think you got to take him.
Yeah, for sure. And Jeff, so if O.J. Howard is your top guy, what type of NFL player comparison do you see him? I've heard plenty of big name tight ends, but I'm curious, is there a particular tight end that's played in the NFL or is still playing in the NFL that O.J. Howard reminds you of?
I think when you're looking at him, I think you're looking, and if all goes right, you're looking at a Jason Witten type guy. I mean, he showed the receiving ability. Obviously, the issue is you don't have the Tony Romo, connection there, obviously, with the Jets right now. But he can be a solid enough receiver. Let's hope. But, I mean, what you're hoping is you're hoping you're getting a 65 to 80 reception guy per year. He can help block in the run game. He really does not have to come off the field because he is athletic enough where he can work a big slot opposite Quincy Enunwa. And now with Engram, like you guys mentioned, there's not a huge difference, I think, between Evan Engram and Quincy Enunwa. Evan Engram really has no experience in line blocking. The thing with OJ is he just gives you the best of both worlds. And, maybe the Jets isn't the perfect spot for him, but the Jets desperately need him. But you could see a return of an investment of a career like Jason Witten.
I was actually going to say that, but I didn't want to make that comparison. I consider him more of like a Travis Kelce type because I think he's a more dynamic receiver than Jason Witten.
Yes, but in the same respect, though, I mean, you look at Jason Witten's numbers, maybe it's almost like he's almost underestimated as a pass catcher. I mean, you're talking as a guy 1,000.
He's a Hall of Famer, definitely.
First ballot. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and that's what you're hoping because he is that dual type guy. Solid. I mean, he's basically an extension of bringing a third tackle in on running downs, and he is that athletic and he is that disruptive that he should be able to bring you a solid return in the passing game as well.
And Jeff,
I'll take either one, Jason Witten or Travis Kelce. I will take them in a heartbeat. All right, I will take anything actually.
We don't have a starting tight end week 1. The only tight end we have on a roster who may be a starter won't be here till week 3. And the worst thing you can do with Austin Seferian-Jenkins is wave him goodbye for 15 days, and God knows what he can get into in those 15 days.
Yeah. All right, Ben. We won't cut you off again, so go ahead.
Yeah, anything O.J. Howard is expected to be has got to be better than what the Jets have right now. Now, Jeff, on the flip side of things, who is your least favorite draft prospect?
As far as at 6, I think. Look, I do not want to start with the cornerback run. This is a cornerback class, and I did this for my show a few weeks back. I went through 10 positional rankings of cornerbacks, and there are 22 to 24 cornerbacks who carry a round 4 grade or higher. We're talking guys who are starters, number 1, number 2 cornerbacks. Why be foolish enough to take your favorite cornerback at 6? All you're going to do is start diluting the talent pool. You don't want to do that. Let somebody else. I mean, I hope the first cornerback doesn't go off the board till 11. So, look, you're guaranteed at 39. Look, the Jets are going to need someone there. You can't say, we got Mo Claiborne. He's here on a 1-year, $5 million deal. Look, he's looking to play well and hopefully get himself out of Dodge to a bigger deal. He's maybe not a guy you're going to tie to anyway with the injury history he's got. He's a guy who's sufficient for now. So, now you're looking at 39 where you can get a cornerback at 39 who's a potential cornerback 1 for you for the future. Just don't be silly enough to start the run a cornerback at 6. That would be really, really foolish.
Jeff, you're not going to like my mock draft tonight because the cornerback run starts a tad bit earlier than 6.
Oh, way too soon. Honestly, it depends on the quarterbacks, but, that's just a little bit tough. I mean, I don't, with this much depth, I think it almost hurts the position because everyone's going to say, I know I can get it later. So you kind of beef up on what you can earlier.
Well, spin zone. What if I told you my first corner was going number 3?
I don't disagree with you with a defensive back going there. I have Jamal Adams myself going to Chicago.
He's not available there, in my opinion.
I hear you. San Francisco's a tough one. I'm assuming Mr. Lattimore is going 3?
Yes.
See, I like Marshawn Lattimore, but my problem there is you got to be worried when Ohio State gave him a rest every 3rd defensive series. He's got the injury history. And for me, look, D. Milner was a huge, significant blow to this organization. Do you want to go ahead and take a guy that already has some hiccups and bumps injury-wise and go that route again? At least give me a guy with, 30 games on tape if I'm going the cornerback route. That's why I'd rather address it at 39.
Yeah. Who would you like at 39?
39. Look, now you're talking guys like, look, even still, if I can trade down and I still have 39, I mean, I will tell you right now, Sidney Jones, who is one of my top cornerbacks, I'll wait it out on Sidney Jones because I do not think the Jets are going to be a contending team in 17 anyway. So even at worst, and if you do the Sidney Jones timeline, and I actually talked with Sidney, and when it first went down, I sent him a message. I sent him the information on Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree was a guy who the injury occurred in May. He had a surgery in late May, came back December 1st, played the last 4 games. If you line it up to Sidney Jones, if everything goes great for Sidney Jones and goes appropriately, he's back by October on the field technically. So you're talking at worst, maybe you're getting 8 games out of Sidney Jones. Will you wait 2 months for a talent like that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kevin King. I mean, this cornerback class is different. Obviously, Kevin King is a guy I love. He could go anywhere from top 15 to dip into the second round. 6'3", 200 pounds, 40-inch vertical, long arms, the fastest 3-cone timed at the combine. He's a guy I absolutely love. I think he's a future number 1 cornerback in the Nnamdi Asomugha role. I think he's a guy you'd love to have. So those are guys I'm looking for there. I mean, I would, if you told me Sidney Jones at 39, I'm not a contending team. I will take him in a heartbeat. I'll wait out the process. I know the kid is a solid kid. I loved his tape. Probably, we saw guys leave bowl games. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, take themselves out of bowl games. We're not playing. Don't worry about it. He already did his combine. Should he have maybe said no to pro day? Probably should have. And that's going to start to be a norm here, I think, as we go on. Guys have a great combine. They're not going to do their pro day. But those are the talent you're looking for there. I mean, obviously the Colorado kids are some great players. Conley, if we find out, early Friday morning that he's been absolved of everything, you automatically put him play there at 39 as well. It's something weird that's going to happen with Conley. And, I mean, you feel bad for the kid because what you hear seems like he did nothing wrong other than just terrible, poor judgment. Met a stranger, invited him to a party in a hotel room. But, I mean, a lot of things can happen in that scenario, but it was poor judgment that led to this, and now he's in the ultimate limbo.
Yeah, and I believe Ben's having some mic troubles right now, so I'll have to take over. You mentioned Sidney Jones. I love Sidney Jones. He got my highest grade by far in this draft class, and I had him as my number 1 corner from, basically a week before his injury, and then the injury occurred. So that was just unlucky for me when I had to post those rankings. But let's talk about the later rounds. All right, I know you're pretty in-depth. You're doing draft season. You're doing Turn on the Jets. You're doing your homework, just like me, and I don't know about Ben. But who are these later round guys, like 3rd and 4th round, even 6th and 7th? I mean, the variety of picks that you could get, depending on who falls and what team reaches in the 1st round, guys fall into the 2nd and eventually in the 3rd, and just like the domino effect that this could happen. So just give me we'll start with with our last pick in the 3rd round, which is basically the pick before the 4th round begins. Who are you taking there, or what do you foresee happening there?
Well, I mean, obviously, I like O.J. Howard earlier, but, I mean, if you're getting into that 107 range, I don't think I'm going to add a wide receiver here. The only wide receiver I'm going to add is maybe a slot guy. Look, Jalen Marshall did himself no favors. Look, he got to play a lot last year. There was a lot of ups, a lot of downs. I think for the most part, Jets fans weren't thrilled with what they saw. You bring me in a guy like Ryan Switzer, ultimate pro, great kid. He comes right in as a punt returner. We actually were fortunate enough to have him on draft season, and he carries himself with that quiet confidence. Like he'd really like to tell everybody, look, you better view me like you view the best receivers in this class. He's kind of soft-spoken about it and gets away with a little West Virginia drawl. But, look, he got a full-time, outside wide receiver spot this year at North Carolina, destroyed it, went to the Senior Bowl. You saw fantastic footwork. Now, I've been talking with his father through Twitter since Ryan was a freshman. I think I put it on a punt return video on Twitter. His dad started following me. We just talk, a couple older guys with kids who play sports. And, but now, as it's gone on, and I talked to his father, he's like, you have no idea. He's like, Ryan played 6 soccer games a weekend as a kid. Now, look, soccer, wide receiver, Odell Beckham was an incredible soccer player as a kid. And you see the translation there. But here's a guy, and look, and the funny thing is Ryan Switzer, he was committed to Penn State. One of the guys he got to know on his visit and was really close with, Christian Hackenberg. They've remained close. Christian Hackenberg chose to stay committed. Obviously, all the trouble and the BS that was going on at Penn State that involved nothing to do with any of these kids. Yep. Ryan Switzer and his family felt it was not the best decision for him. They went and moved away. Edge rushers in this spot. Terrell Basham out of Ohio, fantastic guy. He may be the early or third-round pick. Plays stand-up, plays with his hand in the ground, knows how to play the run, knows how to get after the passer. Guy certainly, he was a guy on, MAC film playing for Ohio who looked like a guy who belonged at a bigger school. Fantastic player. Everybody raves about him. Ohio basically, they just asked him, look, this is what we need you to do this year. This is what we need you to do this week. He was a guy that just nodded, did his job week in, week out. Value there as far as that. Running backs, if we're talking in this range here, you got Alvin Kamara. You got one of my absolute favorites, Marlon Mack, who's probably a straight home run hitter. His speed, his scores didn't dictate the kind of game-breaking guy he is. I kind of nicknamed him Modini because you kind of see a lot of plays where it's, all right, what's going on? And next thing you know, you just see Marlon Mack's 20 yards down the field, and there's just a lot of guys chasing him. I mean, this draft bodes well to what the Jets need. The key is to just get out of 6 and get those picks because, man, look, this roster and, me and some of my 49er guys, we go back and forth about whose roster is worse, which is essentially a pathetic display at how bad these two rosters are. But that's how bad they are. Any draft pick the Jets make this year is making this team. That's how void of talent they are. Every draft pick is making this team because it's just a terribly weak roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why it's necessary for the Jets to trade back from the 6th pick. I don't care if it's with the Browns. I would like it to be with the Browns because I think we can get the best deal out of them, the finesser I am. But, just trading back with anybody and getting more picks and remaining in the first round, hopefully top 20, but things will happen. One thing I'll take away from what you said there about Ryan Switzer. I love Ryan Switzer, think he's a great player. But the thing I'm taking away from it, I heard ESPN has a couple openings now, so I'm going to put this spin zone. We're going to get some headlines. Got to start turning some numbers. Get my name out there. Ryan Switzer says he's best friends with Christian Hackenberg, wants to play for the Jets. That's what I took away from that. But let's talk about the 6th round, right? A guy I'm interested in. Tell me if I'm crazy, right? Kickers in the draft, usually not a good idea, but Zane Gonzalez, statistically the best kicker in collegiate history. Thoughts on that pick, probably, hopefully. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I was actually upset last year that they cut Ross Martin and gave Falk a shot. But that was more of a, the Jets were wildly delusional and thought they could just run out the same team they ran out in 15, in 16. Look, if it didn't get it done enough to get to the playoffs, the same carbon copy was not going to work the next year. Ross Martin's here. And look, you want to draft a kicker, I'm all for that. But you want to know what? When you are a very, very bad franchise, you don't get to take those liberties. And this isn't a knock on him. Obviously, kid should be a great kicker, but I don't think I would ever in my life draft a punter or a kicker. Guys are available. I think you got to be in the most beautiful spots where you say, I don't know what, I don't have a guy I can cut if I draft a D tackle here or a wide receiver here, to take a kicker. My specialist, look, even if they're bad, I'll find somebody off the street.
Yeah, that's something the Jets definitely don't have the liberty, I guess, to do. Like the Patriots, cut anybody you want, fill them in with some dude off the street, like it's the strike ages back in the 80s when the R words were winning the Super Bowl, because we can't say that on air, the Washington R words. So if you're not thinking, a kicker like I am in the 6th round, the guy's name that I've been interested in, Jeremy Clark, Michigan cornerback, has a pretty bad injury. That's the reason he's going to fall. Probably like a 4th round guy if he was healthy. Could you see him fall to the Jets in the 6th round?
I'm going to go 2 cornerbacks here. I think the Jets obviously bust a screen. Look, he's you keep looking at the way this is working out. Even the veterans are here. Their days are numbered. Eric Decker, Matt Forte. I have a hard time believing they're actually going to eventually end up on the opening day roster. which puts Buster Screen under the microscope for 18. Jeremy Clark, fine player. Everything with Michigan I like. Another guy you want to go there, Delano Hill. Just keep bringing in these younger guys. I want a bunch of guys who are thirsty for NFL playing time and their opportunity. Let's see what we got. Look, I want to bring 90 guys to camp, and I want to look every one of them in the eye and say, look, you have as much opportunity here as the guy who's starting in front of you who's making a lot of money. The Jets should know they're in a bad way here. It's about competition. It's about improving the roster. Sixth round, if you don't address running back earlier, how about a Tariq Cohen out of North Carolina A&T? Yeah. He's a Darren Sproles. Everybody wants to say Donnell Pumphrey. He is more the Darren Sproles type. He's got that crazy video game ability where it's left to right. I mean, the runs, go 15 seconds long, even though they're only maybe 30-yard runs. He's got the you can't catch me type of attitudes. It's just, look, let's bring in some young guys here who just want to fight and just take every shot they've got.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want those guys with that character and, that enthusiasm in them. One thing I'll say about the Jets throughout all last year, they gave up. I don't care what age they were. I don't care how much they were getting paid. A lot of those players gave up by week 3. And, I'm mad at them, but at the same time, I don't necessarily blame them, as I should say, and probably shouldn't play half of them because they suck. But to your point, you bring in these guys, they're probably going to be on the roster. They're going to be full of this energy that we really need in this locker room. If you're looking at one of these second round guys, right? Who would be one of them you want in your locker room? Because in the first round, you're kind of looking for the really talented guy. But then when you get into that second, third round, you're looking for the guy who's got some talent. He's a good guy. He's not getting in trouble. So who would you be looking at in there?
A guy who I think the Jets would like, DeMarcus Walker out of Florida State. Everyone seems to just be so down on him, and maybe he's not that athletic. You don't get 26 sacks in the ACC in 2 years.
Wait, aren't you a Felony State fan?
Yeah. Well, I think it's Florida State.
No, I'm pretty confident it's Felony State. Trust me. Speaking from a Gator fan here, though, so biased both ways.
My internet has been on and off the entire show, but I just caught on just to hear Kyle. Just to hear Kyle just dig the knife into the Florida State fans' heart there. Yes, there it is.
That's actually kind of funny because I was curious what happened to your quarterback with this the steroid suspension, and let's not even discuss what happened in a certain prison in the last 9 days or so.
Time out. We do not acknowledge. I can't tell that joke. Nope. We do not acknowledge.
Kyle has to filter himself. Constantly.
Yeah, I was gonna make
it's fine. Don't go back for it, Kyle. You passed it. Keep going.
Yeah. But we don't acknowledge Mr. Hernandez anymore because he has made mistakes and we can't control that. There's a reason Urban Meyer told Bill Belichick not to draft him. When Tim Tebow excommunicates you from his prayers, there's definitely a problem. So we do not acknowledge Aaron Hernandez as their own. But if we really want to talk about, players of this type of character, shall we not forget Dalvin Cook, Mike Vick 2.0?
Mistreating puppies, Jeff. How can you defend that?
The way you say puppies.
Okay. First things first.
We have him on his back foot.
Yes, Dalvin travels.
He's limping on his last paw.
Dalvin does have some bad companions, but it must be rough.
Some bad hombres.
No.
Oh, and look, come on now. Look, any school in Florida, there are issues with their guys there. Mr. Callaway was kind of cute how he got, cleared of everything by a jury of UF alumni. That was nice.
Hey, if you pay off the right judges, you get away with anything. This is America. We accept it, all right? You can't argue that.
Look, I mean, if we're going to be completely honest, whatever's going on in Florida as far as college football, it's pretty bad. But look, let's get Florida better. Let's get Miami better because it's really good when the state of Florida rules in the state of college football. I'd love for the national championship to come from there every year. Look,
yeah, that would be great.
Well,
half the talent comes from there, so I guess we can count that.
why would these guys ever leave to go to a Big Ten school? Who in the
I don't
world
get
would
it.
leave girls? They're going to leave girls in bikinis to go see girls in Uggs and North Faces. Why would you ever do that?
Hey, leggings, maybe God's
Okay, Kyle. You're talking to a Jets fan from Oregon. So yes,
Oregon's got nothing.
The Ducks and Beavers right now are not the pride and joy of the NCAA right now. But I think. Look, I love the draft. I love college football. I love the NFL. I love when we just get to mix the two leagues together. Now, Jeff, really quickly before we let you go, I want to ask you just a few prospects, and I want you to just say boom or bust. Your just initial, even though it's way too early to tell, just your initial gut reaction. Not necessarily guys who are going to the Jets, but I'm just going to read just probably the top 5 guys on CBS's big board, and I want you to just say your gut reaction if they're going to be a bust. Kyle, because he's either a bust or you think he's going to be a great player. Kyle's just spitting fire today. He's all fired up and ready to roast me. But
I'm high off the draft right now. That is what is going on.
Okay. Now Jeff. Okay. Well, I guess we'll start it off with the perennial number 1 overall pick, Myles Garrett. Do you think he's going to be a fantastic NFL player? Or do you think he'll be a bust?
Doesn't second year guy. I hate the fact that the guys like Warren Sapp and these guys are trying to chime in on him now. Look, he did play last year on the high ankle sprain. If you want to say, I'm not sure if he really loves football, but look, has anybody really gotten the chance to really spend 30 minutes with him? I think a lot of that is snap judgment. He's as safe as you can get defensively in this class. It's just simple. He's a doesn't-sack-a-year guy. He's going to go to an NFL system where he plays with 10 times better defensive line talent around him. It's an easy selection for Cleveland, and my God, do not screw this up, Cleveland. Do not.
Please take Trubisky.
All right, just because Kyle didn't want me to read off CBS's big board, I'll just do some different players. I'll give you Jamal Adams, who is actually somebody that many have mocked to the Jets if he makes it to 6, but a lot of people don't think he will anymore. What's your gut reaction on Jamal Adams?
Well, the first things first, guys, and obviously, you guys would have no recollection of this. I remember watching Jamal Adams' father get drafted in the first round.
Yeah, so I read something about that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the sign.
Was it your tweet?
It probably was. This is the part of me being old as hell. The one thing, if you really want something where you're going to look at Jamal Adams and come away very impressed, watch him versus Louisville. Jackson destroyed college football last year. Jamal Adams was one guy who did not back away from him, knew as fast as he was, took the appropriate angles, and was able to lock him up. I think coverage-wise, there's still maybe, a couple of concerns. But when he's put in his own spot where it's, similar, hash mark to sideline, he seemed to handle it well. Very safe pick. I don't want him at 6 just because I think the needs are greater and I can get guys like him later. I can get a Delano Hill 100 picks later who can kind of do exactly what Jamal Adams does, but maybe not at his level. I think the needs are greater, but Jamal Adams is a real solid prospect. I'd be stunned if he's not taken before pick 5.
Yeah, and I happen to agree. I think Jamal Adams is definitely. I mean, you watch the tape, and he's everything you'd want Calvin Pryor to be. I've seen people compare him to Troy Polamalu. I've seen Kyle compare him to Cam Chancellor. He's definitely one of those guys that if he stays healthy, I think he'll be a wrecking ball for years to come. I'm pretty sure we have that Miley Cyrus soundbite, but we're not going to bother to play it.
David, don't play it.
Jeff, next safety on the board, just 3 more here, but we'll do Malik Hooker, the free safety counterpart to Jamal Adams. Many people, are either they think Malik Hooker is the better safety. Most people say Jamal Adams is, but Malik Hooker is actually somebody who could slide right next to Calvin Pryor if the Jets were to draft him. We know Mike Maccagnan and Todd Bowles love their Ohio State players, so he is actually a realistic option for the Jets at 6. Jeff, what's your take on Malik Hooker?
Very rare center field ability. Look, he makes your entire defense easier in passing situations. Look, the pass rush, you don't need as long to get to the quarterback. You force your quarterback into throwing it a little bit earlier. Hooker has the rare instincts where he can break off his guy. It's the anticipation that you just cannot teach. Matt Bowen works for ESPN, former NFL safety. I talk with him a lot.
Does he still work for them?
I'm sorry?
Does he still work for them? Because today was a bad day.
He actually, I I will tell you right now, actually, the first thing, when all this started going down today, I sent him a message. I'm like, bro, I'm thinking about you. He's like, dude, I think it's cool. I think I'm all right. Now, Matt's a guy I've talked with a lot, and I talked with him, like, as a friend. He's got 4 boys and a wife at home, so I was really nervous for him. But he's all right, though. And actually, it was funny because that you brought that up, because he sent me a whole bunch of Dalvin Cook cut-ups today, wondering why he was so underestimated. So it's kind of funny for you, Kyle. But look, Malik Hooker, it's rare. The one thing you are going to worry about is you have no time speed on him, anything of that nature. You essentially have 1 year of really good film on him. But look, nursing 2 injuries through the draft process. People want to get on him about the tackling and the bad angles. I can understand that. I do see it. But he does have hitting ability. And normally I'm not too concerned about a guy who hits when it comes to they will tackle. If he can take those angles to make all those plays in the passing game, he should be able to take them in the run game. But if you want to use that as a little bit of a cause of concern, I can agree with you because, look, you always want to judge guys on what you've seen. You never want to judge a guy on what you're going to project him to be. But I believe Malik Hooker is a real solid prospect, real solid center field, free safety type, single high type. I think he is probably going to end up with the Rams at 7. I'm the Chargers at 7. Screw this LA crap. It's confusing me.
Yeah. All right. 2 more for you, Jeff. Leonard Fournette. What, Kyle? All right, whatever. Jeff, Leonard Fournette, your thoughts on Leonard.
I really like Leonard Fournette, but a lot of guys I've talked with, and I've gotten some guys who rib me a little bit, and the reason maybe I like Leonard Fournette is because I am an older guy. I'm maybe more traditional football-wise. It seems like he's had his demands, like he likes a fullback, he likes a tight end in, but what he translates to NFL-wise and what everybody seems to be doing now is, he's your closer. He's your, 10 carries in the fourth quarter type back. He's got to be willing to adapt and change a little bit, learn how to run out of some single back, learn how to run out of shotgun. Real talented player. Look, if he gets 4 yards and a head of steam, look, that's where you fake a hammy. You don't even bother trying to tackle him. You just go after him, pretend you're cramped up. He's an absolute bowling ball. But, like, a lot of people, want to get on Dalvin Cook about his testing. Leonard Fournette, basically waved off 2 tests at the Combine. I don't understand why people are, like, picking and choosing, how to, critique one back for not doing something, Combine-wise or testing-wise. And then Fournette, he went to his pro day. The only thing he did was do anything pass receiving-wise, and he looked really good. But solid player. But, it's tough for these 2 guys. When you look at a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who did everything, tested through the roof, and is a crazy, crazy production guy, in my opinion, Christian McCaffrey should be the first running back taken probably easily by 6, 7, 8.
Check my board. Check my rankings on Draft.com. Who's my number 1 running back?
He's going to go first. He's going top 10.
Yeah. I have him going number 8 to Carolina. Spoiler from
absolutely.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really popular spot for him. Jeff, last one. This is maybe the most polarizing player in this draft. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback from Texas Tech. I want to get your thoughts on him.
Oh, he's by far the highest ceiling of any of these quarterbacks. It's almost unfair to expect him to reach the ceiling he has. But you were talking, and look, you hate to do comparisons and, throwing abilities. He can do what Aaron Rodgers does. He can do what Brett Favre did. He is magic with his throwing. Look, as far as I think the one concern you have is, he played in such a fast system. You're almost going to bring him into the NFL and kind of put like an emergency brake on him. How does he handle that? Where every play it's okay, stop, get your signal through your headset from the sidelines, get back to the line. Is he still going to be able to be as effective when he's not playing at the 110% fast break style? But look, he should adapt to it. And the best thing I think he has going for him when people who bring up the concerns like that is he has a father who was a pro athlete. He's got it's been told to him what it takes to succeed. The throwing motion and the arm strength is so special. He makes so many throws where you literally stop and rewind it and be like, no way, that did not happen. I did not just see that. There was the one throw, I forget, he's rolling left at the 40-yard line, and he just drops a dime in the back corner of the end zone, and no defensive back was on his receiver because no defensive back in their right mind figured the guy he would make that throw, and he dropped it in there with absolute ease. I'll tell you right now, Arizona is probably the landing spot because, Bruce Arians, who loves to do so much vertically, I think he's got eyes on him, and knowing Carson Palmer, look, I'm in better shape I'm older than Carson Palmer. I'm in better shape. I could probably play more games in the season than Carson Palmer can finish. I think he's the future in Arizona. I think even if they have to trade up, I just think they absolutely have to make that selection.
Guys, check out Jeff. This is why I love you, man. This is why I've been following you. That's exactly who I have Arizona taking. Patrick Mahomes at 13. Check it on Draft. I posted 42 minutes ago, Ben, because I know you won't believe me.
All right. Jeff, we'd like to thank you so much for joining us. You gave some tremendous insight. We'll make sure to give out your Twitter. But really quickly, not related to draft. I've seen this on my Twitter so many times. Can you please explain to our listeners your grilled cheese recipe? You use mayonnaise. Am I to understand? Yeah, Jeff, please explain your Chef Boyardee grilled cheese recipe just for our listeners.
Boy with an O.
It's actually kind of funny because, Kyle, I'll tell you right now, if you're eating grilled cheeses in the South, you've eaten them this way. The thing with the butter is, unless the butter is 100% melted, it's not spreading.
It's not spreading.
You're taking off your little rectangles, you're putting them on your bread, and guess what? It's just soaking right up. And that it causes burn, or it causes your bread to get soggy. Now, with mayonnaise, you get a nice spread. Now, make sure your pan is hot, and it's at cooking temperature when you drop it down. Now, you get an individual cook. And now the thing is, it burns slower than butter, which allows your cheese to melt more, which is obviously the most important part of a grilled cheese.
Obviously.
Flip it back over, drop a lid on top, cover it up for about 3 minutes. The bread now is crisp. Your cheese is melted. It is the only way to do it. The butter stuff is just nonsense. And let me tell you something. If you open your fridge and you take out butter that's, spreadable, don't eat it because it's not good anymore.
It's not good.
It's a slam dunk. And I'll tell you right now, I have my daughters will not eat them any other way. They go to their friend's house and like my wife will get texts from the other moms. Oh, they wouldn't eat my grilled cheeses.
Because it's trash.
Did you use butter? Exactly, because the bread's soggy, the cheese is hard. It's just common sense, people.
Yeah, this is how I've been eating it my whole life.
Yeah, I think that was Jeff's most fire take of the night. Listeners, you can follow Jeff at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. That's LLOYD. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. As I said earlier, you are maybe one of the smartest draft minds on Twitter, and definitely when you say something, it has some meaning. You're one of the few guys that when I read when you say something, I'm like, dang, maybe I should change my opinion on that person. Maybe I'm wrong, which is not easy for me to say.
Don't ever change your opinion. Don't ever.
Yeah, we'll leave that to David. I'm not going to use the exact term, but we know what David does.
Jeff, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man, and we look forward to possibly having you on the show again sometime in the future.
No problem. Ben, have a great birthday. Guys, do me a favor. I love that you're involved with this as much as young as you are. Guys, please be 16, 18. Enjoy the hell out of this because this is an addiction that just gets weird and crazy. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm at the weird part.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll hopefully talk to you again sometime soon. All right, that was Jeff Lloyd, as we mentioned, a fantastic draft. David chiming in with
David coming in with a clutch. Just as you said, fantastic. All right,
just never
no
gonna
more
stop
honorable
it.
mention. No more honorable mention. He's back to
Pro
Bowl.
Whoa. Yeah, I know he's back to Pro Bowl. He's unsolicited soundbite right there from Gangrene David.
Ben,
Kyle, let's.
Yeah, you cut out.
Sorry.
When you cut out, I don't know if you heard the Ryan Switzer thing.
I caught the tail end of it.
Yeah, obviously, in summary, a lot of guys left Penn State because of the whole issues. That team was actually depleted in talent, even though they ended up having some pretty good talent with Jesse James and Allen
Robinson.
Yeah, I always get the two confused. They're both on Jacksonville, so pardon me.
Yeah, Kyle's our draft expert on the NFL expert here.
Yeah. Oh crap! Why did I just do that? Son of a. Oh,
Not
God.
easy for you to give me anything, is it, Kyle?
Oh no.
We got to go back to the old format of the show where I would just pummel you with facts and just
I don't
respect.
recall that. I don't recall that.
I think the early days. I will admit these past
fading.
few months I've been lacking because one, I've been a very busy person. Second, okay, wow, another unsolicited soundbite. I don't think we've ever used that one before.
Completely stolen from Let's Talk.
He had his finger ready. But hey, I'm a very busy second semester junior in high school. But thank you.
Is that the explanation we're getting now?
That is the tech. I mean, look, I don't ever go like, I don't want to do the show tonight. It's mostly like
crap.
That is true, Kyle. There's been plenty of times where I do commentating for our high school athletics, and a lot of times it's just like, oh, Ben, do you want to do the baseball game next week? And I'll be like, yeah. And the baseball game is 5:00 on Wednesday after school. I was like, oh, okay.
So why do you agree to it,
David? Well, maybe I should get
not check
myself
the schedule?
an organizer. Yeah, I probably should look at the dates more. But yes, I apologize.
We're getting off topic. Nobody cares.
All right, let's get back to the draft. We have plenty of stuff to talk about and not that much time.
Ryan Switzer, best friends with Christian
continue.
That's basically the summary of that. They became buddies when Switzer was committed there, and then obviously the whole scandals came out. Broomsticks came out, stuff like that.
Broomsticks?
Switzer, yeah, you don't get the joke.
Pitchforks?
Nope, broomsticks. I'll tell you later.
God. Oh my God.
Switzer left.
You are 12 years old, Kyle.
Yeah, Switzer left the program, and Hackenberg was left to suffer with the talentless team. Even though I'm not making excuses for him. He sucks.
Terrible.
Let me just remark to that. But Spin Zone, we're becoming popular now because I tweeted out he's going to play for the Jets and he wants to play for the Jets. That's a quote. That's a quote that I'm taking away for that. It's not editorializing. It's the factual truth.
So what round would you look to bring in Ryan Switzer?
Third round. I think he'll be there in the third round.
So I think, yeah. So I honestly, I think the Jets can get a nice haul in this draft, especially if you look at trading down or trading Sheldon Richardson. I mean, you look at this. There's a lot of talent on this team, and especially in those day 2 and day 3. So I think if the Jets can stockpile as many picks as possible, I definitely think you're going to see a very talented or a very young team with a lot of talent next year for the Jets. All right, Kyle, let's get right into it. We're going to bring on David here before our call, which is unusual. We're going to go ahead and bring in the callers in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and bring on David. So David, you can bring yourself on because some reason I don't have the power to do that right now.
Because I'm the host. I'm in control.
No, we're both the hosts. But okay, David, unmute yourself. We're going to go ahead and give out our first 10 picks of our mock drafts. These are our official mock drafts because the draft is tomorrow. And then we'll probably tweet out the entire things later. We're having some technical difficulties with David. You got him, okay.
Never mind. It's not on
well, so David, leave and come back. We'll bring on David in just a second. Okay, Kyle. We're gonna give the mock draft in just a second, but we'll probably tweet out the rest of it, and then
does David
Kyle
have a mock draft? Is he ready?
Are we aware of this? I believe he does, but if he doesn't,
he will get demoted to honorable mention very fast if he doesn't.
He'll get demoted to like.
Look at the text.
Okay, prime time Pro Bowl producer might need to.
No, wait. The great thing about the Pro Bowl producer, I tweeted this a little earlier. You can have different levels of Pro Bowler. Like there are years Peyton Manning doesn't make it to the Super Bowl and he says, screw it, I'll take the free trip to Hawaii, right? And then there are the years where the great ones are Ben just pulls out another laptop because white privilege. And then there are other.
You're white too, Kyle.
Yeah, but I don't have like 2 laptops in front of me
This is an iPad. It's where my mock draft's on.
Whoa. As I was saying, and then there are other years where the good quarterbacks they're either injured or just don't want to show up because they're too good. And then the guys like Andy Dalton step in, and I think David's right in that Andy Dalton to Blaine Gabbert area. Probably a healthy mix of those guys. But when David gets back on, then you and I will do our top 10 of our mock draft. I basically spoiled half of mine already.
But we can do it now if you'd like. We don't have to. But we do have our top 10s ready. In mine, I'm torn on mine because I put the player that I want the Jets to take as the one we're going to take, but I don't think the Jets are going to take him.
David now says he has his top 5, meaning that he's looking at the most recent mock draft by Daniel Jeremiah.
NFL mock draft.
Quickly, that's why we couldn't unmute him. He was improvising. You know what? Just for that, honorable mention.
Well, yes. So as we mentioned before,
David, speak.
Yeah, can David? Oh, I can unmute him. Here you go. I got David. Okay. Wow, there it is. Okay, David is unmuted. Oh, and I unmuted him again. Okay, David is unmuted. We're going to go ahead and give out our mock drafts. Kyle, I'll let you start since you're the draft aficionado. Why don't you go ahead and give out your top 10? Brief explanation for both, but keep in mind we are on some time. But you just because we're giving out the top 10, you can give out an explanation. But keep the time in the back of your head.
Probably won't do that. Number 1, pretty clear to me, Myles Garrett. Cleveland has a dire need for a pass rusher, even though they got Jamie Collins because Bill Belichick wants him to rot in football hell. Great player, comparable to Von Miller, just good pick at number 1. Number 2, San Fran. I looked at their GM and I said, hey, he knows what it's like to have a game-changing safety on your team. Why doesn't he go with that one? Jamal Adams, strong safety, LSU, fits perfectly what San Fran's doing. They're switching to the 4-3. They're going to need an enforcer towards the back end. I think he fits well. Number 3, Chicago, the Bears, the losers. They need defensive, another presence in their secondary. Kyle Fuller isn't what they hoped him to be. Their safeties aren't that good either, but they're going to go ahead with Marshawn Lattimore, the constantly injured player out of Ohio State. Number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even though they have a decent, stable running backs and just no way of using them, they're going to go ahead and take Leonard Fournette because what else would the Jaguars do? Number 5, Tennessee. I wouldn't say it's a necessarily large need, but I think it's kind of like the best talent available, and I think he's the best pure edge rusher, and that's my man Solomon Thomas from Stanford. Great athlete, good in the run game, good, as I said, edge rusher, just basically a complete package, and if you can get him at 5, that would be really good for Tennessee as a franchise with where they're heading. Obviously, our New York, I almost said our New York Sixers. I don't know why, but our New York Jets take, he'll be our new squeeze, O.J. Howard. See what I did there?
Didn't like how that came out.
Oh my God, that sounded so bad. At number 7, the constantly changing location Chargers. They need somebody in the back end.
Okay.
Well, they were another team at some point in their history. They were probably too sucky to remember that. They take Malik Hooker, free safety out of Ohio State. Number 8, Carolina. They take Christian McCaffrey, running back out of Stanford. I think I brought this fact up like a month ago on the show when we were discussing, I think it was like our earliest version of the mock draft. I'm pretty sure it was on the show. Might have been Twitter. I don't know. I'm lost half the time. They hired his running back coach from Stanford to be their wide receiver coach. So immediately in my mind I said, yep, that confirms it, even though he's not even considered a first rounder. Now looking at, the rumors floating around today, it seems to make sense. And he's my number 1 running back on my board as of like 2 days ago. So I think that would be a good fit for Carolina, help out Cam Newton. Number 9, Cincinnati, Reuben Foster. He isn't going to fall too far. It was probably weed. I'm not going to lie. I tried to defend him last night. I couldn't really make a case. He doesn't have a history of cramping, and I don't really think he needed to overhydrate. He was definitely trying to hide something. As an individual who goes to high school, I can tell you when kids are trying to hide something on a drug test, they usually drink a lot of water, and I'm pretty sure that's what Reuben Foster did. So he will slide a little bit, but not a lot. He'll help out Cincinnati. They basically need to revamp their linebacking core. They got rid of Ray Maluga, I believe, and then Vontaze Burfict, obviously suspended for however many games for kicking whatever dude again. And then number 10, the Buffalo, not a real NFL franchise because they haven't won anything in 17-year Bills. Take Deshaun Watson and endure another 10 years of not getting a Super Bowl ring.
Gary breathes heavily once you say that.
Shout out to Gary, by the way. I don't know what's going on with him, but shout out to Gary.
Okay. Well, Kyle, I will give my mock draft, and I'm going to give a fair warning. Last year, I was correct in the Jets selection, which was a bit of an oddball, considering the Jets picked 20th, and Darren Lee was not a guy who was mocked to them much. I was pretty impressed with my Darren Lee selection.
If we're handing out compliments, who were my top quarterbacks?
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't even know who Patrick Mahomes was, you jerk.
I knew. Okay, you brought him up in like October or something crazy, and I was just like, who?
Exactly. And I compared him to Brett Favre, and he said I was
Okay, back in October, Kyle was like, oh, this kid's the next Brett Favre, Patrick Mahomes from Texas Tech, and I was just like, what? Okay.
And then Mr. Trubisky.
Dude, I'll give you. You got college football on me, but we both know I got the NFL on you.
This is not true.
This is true, dude.
We've done
plenty of knowledge quizzes, Kyle, and I beat you every single time.
That's false.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it. Okay.
David, have a trivia question later for tonight.
Yeah, you got to get it ready, David. Let's get our. So I'll give my top 10. A little difference from yours, Kyle. But
that means it's wrong.
What I was gonna say is I have a mock draft which I think is what's going to happen, and I have a mock draft on what I want to happen. So it's not too much different. It's two picks that are different. But top 10. This part is not affected at all. Browns select Myles Garrett. I mean, I think Jeff has talked about it. You talked about it. He's the perennial number 1 overall selection. I personally am not in love with him as a prospect. I will come out there and say it. But I think that's just a gut feeling I have. On film, on tape, I think he is a tremendous prospect. I think the Browns need to build their culture around him. 49ers, I haven't taken Mitch Trubisky. I'm not a huge Mitch Trubisky fan. I think he's going to be a bust. But I think the 49ers need a quarterback. I could also see Deshaun Watson in this spot. Actually, I'm on the line. Part of me wants to say they're going to take Deshaun Watson. Part of me wants to say no. Mine is done. Kyle, I have the list right here. I will show it to you. I just. Part of me is I'm reading this. I did this earlier today, and I'm reading this, and I'm just okay. I'm gonna make a change, last second change. I know, Kyle.
Of course you are.
Okay. 49ers are gonna have to take Deshaun. I think they're gonna take. No, don't do boo.
Wait, did David even?
We're running out of time.
Did David ever talk? Didn't we unmute him? David, did you ever talk?
That was really. Okay, he's not muted. Okay, anyways, or he's muted. So 49ers have taken Deshaun Watson. I went back and forth on this one. I do think Deshaun is better than Mitch Trubisky. I don't think I'm not that confident Mitch Trubisky's 12 or 13 games that he played. I think Deshaun Watson will bring a winning caliber to the San Francisco 49ers, and I think he'll be a solid quarterback there. I have the Chicago Bears taking Jamal Adams. I think he is a tremendous safety. I've compared him to Troy Polamalu, and I've seen a few other analysts do that. Kyle said Cam Chancellor. I think he is a guy that will wreak havoc in the box, and I think his coverage skills are underrated. I could also see Sean Taylor. Now the Jags, Solomon Thomas fell into their laps here, so I'm going to have him taking Solomon Thomas.
What about Dante Fowler?
I think he has a better motor. I like him more than Myles Garrett. I think he has just a better motor. I think he's going to end up being the better of the two prospects. So I think the Jets are going to get a nice player to add to the defense. Once again, Solomon Thomas. Now, that was the pick that could have gone differently because I could have also had them taking Leonard Fournette. Which would have changed some things up. But I'm just going to give out the mock draft. It doesn't matter what I almost went with, just because the Jags have gone defense the past 5 years or so, or whatever it's been. I could play Bortles. But besides that, I mean, you look at what they've addressed between like Miles Jack and Dante Fowler and why can't I remember? Kyle, help me out. Corner.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jack. There it is. I knew it was Ramsey. I was going to say Gordon Ramsay. I was like, wait, he's the chef.
Willie is cooking.
Titans. The Tennessee Titans, I have them taking Mike Williams, receiver from Clemson. They have another pick, and in that selection, I think they might be able to take a guy like maybe if Reuben Foster falls. I know you don't think he'll fall that much. Maybe Hassan Reddick will fall that much. But I think the Titans are going to go ahead and take the best receiver in this draft, and go ahead and take Mike Williams and help out their young quarterback Marcus Mariota. Now I have the Jets taking Leonard Fournette. I don't think it's going to happen. If I were to say who I think they're going to take, I would say Malik Hooker. I know the Jets need a free safety. They compare him next to Calvin Pryor. We know that the Jets love their Ohio State players. He's a ball hawk. The Jets only had 7 interceptions last year. Malik Hooker is an interception machine, so I think that is probably where the Jets are going to go. However, I do personally want to see Leonard Fournette, so I made a mock draft with Leonard Fournette going to the Jets because why not? I think
Ben,
he is.
Tell me this. All right, ready?
All right.
I know looks me dead in the eyes on the camera, then looks out into his beautiful rainforest of the backyard out in Portland, Oregon. That just was on Twitter.
I'm looking at the city.
Yeah. What happens to Leonard Fournette?
Right now, Kyle.
I don't care, Ben. What happens? What happens in 5 years to Leonard Fournette when his feet goes away because of all the hits he's been taking over?
His feet. Did you say his feet goes away? No.
Yeah.
That is a solid concern with Leonard Fournette. And this was another concern for a prospect last year who was not nearly as talented, but Derrick Henry, a lot of tread on the tires there. But with Leonard Fournette, I think the production on film is undeniable. You look what he's played through, and I don't know. I think he running back is one of those positions where pretty much any running back that enters this league, barring their some no-name college that didn't get much reps and then they come out of nowhere and start for New England or whatever. Most running backs that come out of these SEC top schools have a lot of tread on their tire. I think Leonard Fournette has some tread in this tire, and I think that's a solid point. But Kyle, I think he is one of the most talented players to come out in years. I think he's going to be a fantastic running back in this league. He reminds me of Adrian Peterson. I am all on the Leonard Fournette train. I know you are not, and I might eat my words in 8 months or whatever it is. But I still think Leonard Fournette is going to be another solid rookie running back, and I would love to see him on the New York Jets. He has me sold. But that said, if I were to make my prediction on who the Jets will take, I would say Malik Hooker here.
Of course.
So with the Leonard Fournette draft, then I would have the Chargers taking Malik Hooker. Then I have the Panthers taking Christian McCaffrey. As we mentioned, a solid fit for their team and what they want to do. McCaffrey's really a guy who shot up all the boards. And now he's landing in possibly the top 10. There's always some guy that at the last week or two that just shoot up into the top 10.
I think
and another guy, the Bengals. I have the Bengals. I know Marvin Lewis values character a lot, so I have the Bengals taking Hassan Reddick. They're going to reach for Hassan Reddick over Reuben Foster, and Reuben Foster will fall into the early teens. And then at 10, I have the Bills taking Marshawn Lattimore. They've lost a few corners. I think that they're going to go ahead and get the first corner on the draft around 10. That's around, I think Jeff said 11 to the Saints. But I think the Bills are going to take it. Not Dennis Thurman. Yeah. Why am I? It's Anthony Lynn, right? Yeah, that's the new head coach. Sorry, I spaced for a second.
No.
No. Oh gosh. Oh my God. It's Scott McDermott. Yeah, Sean McDermott. There we go. See, Kyle. That's what happens when you miss. That's what happens when you miss. Hey. That's one thing I've gotten wrong. That is one thing. Oh gosh, that was embarrassing. But no, my apologies. Sorry, Kyle. I haven't been calling into AFC East, bro. So I haven't been keeping up on what's up with the Bills. That is embarrassing. My apologies. McDermott is the head coach. But yes, same thing holds true. I think Marshawn Lattimore is going to be a nice fit for them in their secondary. Kyle, let's call the Jet Take. All I need to know is about the New York Jets. But Kyle, we have taken many quizzes and we've proved I know more about the NFL. So we'll do it again later. So that is my mock draft. But again, I want the Jets to pick Fournette.
We're already an hour into the show, and I'm honestly sick of hearing you. David, you've told us that you have your top 5 ready to go. Please don't have it be like a CBS mock draft. Otherwise, you're getting demoted.
Okay. What I meant by top 5...
We can't say that letter multiple times in a row, and you know that.
What? Okay, never mind.
Just keep going.
Okay, but what I meant by my top 5 is I actually have my top 5 picks for the Jets to potentially draft, and I would actually like to listen.
You're copping out right now, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna list my picks from 5 to 1. So number 5, my number 5 pick for the Jets to draft would be actually Deshaun Watson, mainly because.
And you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. Listen to my reason, Kyle. The reason why I would actually consider Deshaun Watson an option is because remember the last time we got a quarterback with the top 10 pick, he played.
It didn't end up well.
Well, he played in 2 AFC title games. But listen,
the team did.
Okay, well. Okay, well. not only that, well, these quarterbacks right now are better than what we have because as of now we have a 37-year-old concussion-prone vet. We have one who's recovering from a torn labrum, and we have one who has not started a single game, who hasn't even taken a snap. So honestly, why not the Jets draft Deshaun Watson and even start him day one? Because right now we're not doing anything to develop these young quarterbacks. So I would obviously think of Deshaun Watson as an option at number 5.
All right, well, let me get through your logic there, right? I think that, Solomon Thomas is better than Sheldon Richardson. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him at number 6 because he might be sitting there. And I'm not going to trade Sheldon because I think he's suspension prone. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so I have that as number 5. My number 4 pick, I actually have to agree with Mr. Blessington. I would actually take Leonard Fournette as my 4th option at number 6, mainly because, Leonard Fournette is a great playmaker. He came out of a great school. And honestly, I just don't see the Jets, I don't see anybody really passing him up at that number 6 spot because I think Ben's right. Leonard Fournette could have the potential and the ability to become the next AP possibly. And, since our running backs aren't getting any younger, why not take a young playmaker like Leonard Fournette and put him in there? So that's my number 4 pick. My number 3 pick would be Mr. Malik Hooker at Ohio State. Also because he also came out of one of the best college football programs in the United States. Also to mention the fact that he has – oh, come on. You don't think Ohio State actually is a good college program, Kyle?
Well, one thing I'll say. Ben keeps saying, the Jets love their Ohio State guys. Not one of them has panned out. Tell me one has panned out.
Yeah, well, Malik Hooker is the difference is Malik Hooker is a potential top 10, or if not top 5 pick. And also, I think because of his big body and his strength and his good ball hawk and his good hitting ability, that he would actually be my number 3 potential pick for the Jets. Number 2 pick would actually be none other than O.J. Howard at Alabama. Now, at first, I was actually against drafting O.J. Howard, but then I was. But then after all the O.J. Howard takes started to escalate and realized that since
David died.
Nope, still there.
Nope.
No? Okay, well.
Man can wish.
Okay, well, as I was saying, O.J. Howard, since we're basically going with a young offense as it is, why not add another great part to our offense who's young and who would probably provide more depth with his great run blocking and his great pass catching and his big body in general, because I think he'd be a great matchup against even big defensive ends possibly. And he would actually be a great weapon for any new quarterback we're going to have starting this season, because one way or another, we're not having Ryan Fitzpatrick or Geno Smith. We're having possibly Christian Hackenberg, Bryce Petty, or Josh McCown. So you have one of those 3 starting, and then you have O.J. Howard as a weapon that would actually be a plus for those quarterbacks. And my number 1 potential pick for the Jets is none other than Jamal Adams, mainly because I've actually watched most film on him, and honestly, I like what I've seen out of him. And I've given my takes on this player before. I think he's a great player. Jeff Lloyd actually made some good points about him, and Ben, you made some good points about him. And I honestly think that he has the potential to be a great safety, possibly Cam Chancellor level. He's a hard-hitting safety. He's big body, good ball hawk, and came out of a great school. And he's a great special teams player. So I honestly want the Jets to draft Jamal Adams if he's sitting there at number 6. Because honestly, if he is sitting there at 6, there is no way in living – well, I'm not going to say because we're on a podcast, but there is no way there's no way I would pass up Jamal Charles if he's sitting there at number 6. But if not, then O.J. Howard is my next guess right there. So those are my top 5 potential picks for the Jets.
All right, that was the honorable mention producer, Gang Green David, who just gave his top 5 options for the Jets. At number 6, that's not including like a trade back or anything. So, David, thank you for coming on. Go ahead and tweet your little heart out and do what you do behind the scenes. You do a honorable mention job. So we're going to go on to our first caller of the night. and that is going to be Alex. But before we go to him, Kevin, all right, beef with you, man. You can't listen to our show on mobile, right? So it's not like you have your headphones in, you're working out or something, listen to us. You have to be at a laptop or a PC or whatever you're on to listen to us. So that means you're just like headphones on at a computer. You call in. Defend yourself, defend your reign as the primetime producer of the Jets podcasting. That's all I got to say. All right, so we're going to go to our first caller of the night. Sorry we had you guys on hold for so long with Jeff, and then, honorable mention.
Yeah.
Alex, thanks for coming on, my man. Thanks for waiting so patiently. I know you've been working hard to draft them. All of your final articles dropped today. We'll be working on next year's stuff starting very soon. So let's talk some draft. Number 6, give us your prediction.
Oh, man, really excited. It's finally come to us like the night of Christmas Eve. With the 6th pick in my scenario here, I would really hope that we could get Jamal Adams. I think that he's just going to be one of the best defensive players to come out of this class. And if we could get a player like that, I think immediately. Oh, yeah. I've been pounding the table for that one for a while. But it wouldn't break my heart either if they did make a trade and they decided to move back and acquire some more picks. I really think that would be just a really bold and solid move for Mike Mack.
Yeah, definitely. Ben, thoughts, please.
Yeah, I'm just sitting listening. And Alex, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Notice how Kyle introduced you. That is not true. But Kyle, how many shows have I done? 48 or something?
I was talking about frequently. So.
All right, okay. Well, Alex, that's good to talk about. But I'm very interested in day 2 of this draft because I pretty much whoever the Jets are going to draft, we've most likely heard in a mock draft or whatnot. But day 2 is a lot of different possibilities. I mean, there are some guys saying, Deshaun Watson could fall all the way to round 2 and some crazy scenarios. There's always some sort of guy that falls to round 2. Last year it was Miles Jack. There's plenty of different scenarios. And then there's always the safer picks. Who is your favorite round 2 for the New York Jets? Day before the draft, or I guess it's 2 days before the round 2 of the draft. But without knowing how the first round is going to shake out, who are some day 2 prospects that you're really interested in seeing the Jets pick up?
What's really interesting is, like you said, with all the different articles and smoke screens and everything that's been coming out, a lot of people that I think that would be available with the 39th pick, everyone's saying that these guys are first rounders. So, there's only 32 players that can go in the first round. So there's going to be a lot of great guys that slide. Exactly. So somebody that's really, really talented is going to fall. But, I was thinking Charles Harris for a long time would be there at the 2nd pick, or, maybe a Carl Lawson could be available. I really think that would be a good spot for us to get an edge guy. But if, one of those big guys were to go, I think Adoree Jackson, a player like that, or, maybe if a Kevin King slides to, that 39th pick, yes. I think that you'd, really, really, be headed in the right direction with some, high-level players like that.
Ben, thoughts?
Yeah, sorry, my connection is going in and out, but I think you guys can hear me.
You were on Twitter.
What? On my phone, Kyle.
Yeah, Twitter. I called it.
That's a different thing. Yeah, no, I think it's. I mean, again, this all is a mute conversation until tomorrow night. We'll know who's going to be. You pretty much in. I guess it's probably 26 hours or so. We'll know who will be around when the Jets pick in the 2nd round. I think there are plenty of top prospects that I'm interested in. And as I mentioned earlier with Jeff, I mean, you look at running backs, tight ends, corners, safeties even. A lot of these positions that the Jets need are going to be available on day 2. So depending on where the Jets go. So in my mock, I changed it. I made it the realistic one because I can't have Kyle beat me. So I now officially have the Jets taking me.
It's a little.
But I still want Leonard Fournette. But let's say the Jets take their free safety, they get Malik Hooker. Then on the 2nd round, I mean, you could look at maybe one of the tight ends falls. Maybe that's Evan Ingram. I know he's very similar to Quincy Enunwa. You could look at the running backs, see who. That's a good point. You could look at the running backs. You can see who's available there. Maybe McCaffrey falls the way. Probably won't.
Did Ben just die? Yeah, Ben just died on us. That happens from time to time. He
had a good one going too.
Yeah, he's like a cat. He's got 9 lives. He'll be back eventually, whether you want him to or not. So I guess I'll take over like I have been the last couple of weeks. I believe he left off with McCaffrey. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He was left off with McCaffrey. Yeah, talking about I think getting an offensive player in the first round. And to be honest with you, everyone's saying this is a defensive draft. You got to go defense. Well, if it's that stacked, taking the opportunity of getting one of the best offensive players with the first pick, I don't see how you could really go wrong. And anybody that says you can't do that, to me that's a little like short-sighted or narrow-minded. Because if you can get O.J. Howard, or you could get a player like Leonard Fournette, or if you decided to go wide receiver and look at a player like Corey Davis or Mike Williams. This is a player that you can build and have as a centerpiece in your offense for years to come. And, again, in the second and third round, there's going to be plenty of talent. Corners are going to be deep until the third to fourth round. Even at that, our fourth pick, the compensatory pick, even if we get a defensive back there, whether it's a safety or a corner, that's a player that probably won't start right from the beginning, but by 2018 will definitely be fighting or competing for a starting position, whether it be nickel or somewhere in the safety position.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Jets should definitely go offense as much as they can because I think defense has the most depth in this draft. But what I will say about some of the offensive positions, obviously you've been doing a lot of work with drafting, so But, for the listener's sake, and there's Ben. Ben, did you land on your feet this time with your 9 lives?
Yes. I'm telling you, I don't know what's happening.
You didn't get eaten by a coyote? It wasn't
not
coyote?
Getting by I'll tell you, it's been going on. It happened last week in our interview.
Backstory?
I don't know what's going on.
Backstory to that joke. Ben's cat, as a child, was eaten by a coyote right in front of him.
Kyle. Way to bring up great memories.
Hey, tomorrow's your birthday, buddy.
My cat was eaten by a coyote. Yeah, it's crazy.
I can't even imagine.
Fighting off wild bears.
That's what happens in Oregon. Coffee gets made and bears get killed. Oregon, join us.
Dude, it's a great state. So I cut out, so I didn't hear your entirety of your conversation. Well, let's ask a different question, Alex. As I mentioned before, the Jets always take somebody that I never expect. Last year, of course, I was right. But I just had to slide that in. But for the most part, the Jets take somebody who you haven't seen in a mock draft. That's a little different to do when you're picking 6. But I'm going to throw some guys out there that you haven't heard mocked to the Jets that much, and you say how you would feel if the Jets drafted them. Okay, Alex, so I'll throw them to you, and then maybe I'll throw them to Kyle if I'm in a good mood. But Alex,
sounds good.
First up, let's ask Mike Williams, receiver from Clemson, my top receiver in this class. How would you feel if the Jets drafted him at 6 overall?
I think he would be a great asset. Again, we don't know exactly what John Morton's going to do, what kind of style passing offense he's going to have. But, you seem to need to have a big target wide receiver. You need to have your possession guy, and you need a slot receiver that can work over the middle. And at the moment, we do have a couple of those players with Quincy Enunwa and Decker and some guys that can stretch the field. But we don't have a big target wide receiver, that Brandon Marshall role. So, getting a big target like that, I definitely could see that being beneficial.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that Quincy Enunwa is going to be the next, Brandon Marshall for this team, and that may be in his future. But personally, I see him more as an Eric Decker, a guy over the middle. We've obviously seen him produce there, but between the numbers, I think that's where he really dominates on the seam routes and stuff. It's a little different for me to see him, on the outside. Trying to do some of the things that we saw Brandon do as a number 1 wide receiver. So I think receiver is definitely still in need. People saying the Jets have the worst receiving core in the NFL. That's just not true. I think I expect Jerome Peake, Robbie Anderson, and Quincy Enunwa all
that
take
dude on Twitter. That dude needs to go. He needs to lose that verified park.
I think Eric Decker's a solid guy, and Quentin Patton is going to be nice. Speedy sort of shifty receiver. But yeah, that number one wide receiver is, and as much as we want Ryan Switzer, as Kyle was saying, just because he has the friendship with Christian Hackenberg, we kind of already have that receiver. We need our big body receiver.
No.
And I left out Devin Smith there, but I'm not expecting
for
that
a reason.
We kind of got the deep route and Robbie Anderson. We have the slot guys and over the middle guys. And Eric Decker.
We have the injured and suspended. And
probably Quincy Enunwa. Then you can look at Sharon Peake as probably the guy who could be that number one wide receiver, but I don't know as a 7th-round draft pick if he can be. So, yeah, if Mike Williams is there, it's definitely going to be tempting. I refined my mock draft while everybody's talking. And in this mock draft, Mike Williams is available, and the Jets go with safety. I think that could be interesting. Alex, next guy for you, Solomon Thomas. The defensive end from Stanford. That would definitely irk quite a few Jets fans if the Jets were to take another defensive lineman. But Solomon Thomas does have quite a few, has a terrific motor and could possibly play a little bit of outside linebacker. We'd see. But how would you feel if the Jets drafted Solomon Thomas?
That might be the pick where something might get destroyed in my living room if that happens. He's a great talent. I watched his tape, and at first when I was looking at him, I was saying, wow, that would be one of the edge guys that I would like to play, or I'd like to get, at the 2nd round. But then, as we got closer and closer to the draft, and he just kept sliding down. And then next thing you know, people are talking about him going within the top 5, top 10. So, I guess, from what people have seen is that he's going to be a dominant pass rusher, but I don't know where it's going to be from. Is it going to be from the inside D tackle position? Is it going to be in a 3-4 defensive end position? I'm not sure if he can play edge, stand up as an outside linebacker and give you coverage skills. I think that he would, you wouldn't be utilizing him properly if you were only having him trying to come off the edge, because what he does on the interior is pretty dominant. So I think it would be a good player to have. Perhaps if we were going to transition to a 4-3 scheme, I would be all for it, because at least I know that we're not going to have one of our players out of position or on the sideline, which would be, Sheldon, Moe, or Leonard Williams, because those 3 guys have to be on the field at the same time, and it's kind of hard when you run a 3-4 defense and you only have 3 down linemen.
Yeah, I agree. I think Solomon Thomas would be a pick that would definitely be the talent that the Jets need, but another defensive lineman would definitely anger me. Really quickly before we keep going, we'll say that to the end. We'll keep it somewhat organized. It's a very unorganized show. The Jet Take is. We'll keep it going. Hassan Reddick is definitely a guy, outside linebacker from Temple. I personally love him as a prospect. Not necessarily at 6. But, another guy kind of like Christian McCaffrey that's really shot up the boards these past few weeks, and now is at the point where some guys have him going in the top 10. If the Jets were to reach for Hassan Reddick, we know Todd Bowles has that Temple connection, and I guess Muhammad Wilkerson does as well. The Jets haven't had their pass rushing outside linebacker forever. Reddick could slide right in next to Jordan Jenkins, and Jordan would split time with Lorenzo Malden. That could be a nice, young outside linebackers group. How would you feel if the Jets took Hassan Reddick at number 6?
At number 6, I think it would be a little bit of a reach, to be quite honest with you. I do think he's first-round talent. He's got the speed. I don't know. His size is just a little bit small for me, but I guess that's the new style of linebackers that are coming out. They're a little bit leaner, but they're quicker. And, this guy's kind of a Swiss Army knife. And that, again, I don't know where our team would see him, because he could play inside. He could play outside and give you, the edge position. And there's some snaps where he's been, almost like a defensive end in a 3-point stance. Again, I don't know if that's where he belongs, going up against 350-pound left tackles from a 3-point stance when the guy's about 230 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So, it would almost be like having another player similar to what we were trying to get in Darren Lee. Smaller, hybrid type of linebacker with coverage skills. They all sound pretty similar to me. I guess what I would say about Reddick is that he would probably be a better pass rusher than Darren Lee with his draft profile. So it would be interesting to have 2 athletic, speedy inside linebackers if that's where the Jets saw them. But at the same time, I kind of feel like what we need from the interior is we need a guy that can boom up the middle and give you that interior pass rush from the linebacker position so that Darren Lee can go to his role of being the coverage linebacker. So it'd be interesting to have a player like that, maybe in that trade back scenario with Cleveland, if we could move back to the 12th pick or something like that. I could warrant the pick at the 12th spot, but I'm not sure about the 6th pick with Reddick. But I do like him.
So spin zone, what you're telling me is the Jets don't have any good defensive
Third
line.
time you've said spin zone.
Yeah, that's a new thing. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm making the show.
I could go on for hours about that.
Yeah, spin zone.
Come on, Kyle.
You got to churn the numbers, Ben. You got to churn the numbers, right? You're saying that Muhammad Wilkerson and Leonard Williams can't get a pass rush. That's what you're telling me.
I did not say that at any point.
No, that's what I.
Here's my 2 cents
Kyle,
on that.
To be fair, whoa, hold on, Alex. Kyle, to be fair,
it's called spin zone.
Kyle, to be fair, you were not in the room when I was talking, no, that is not what I was saying with the Sumrick. Kyle, I think you missed the first part of this. Is what, because look at Kyle trying to throw some shade. I'm saying, how would you feel about these sort of guys that you haven't seen mocked to the draft to the Jets too much?
Ben, I heard that.
So when I say Hassan Reddick, I'm not saying that I don't think Muhammad Wilkerson and Leonard Williams can't generate pass rush. But I will say,
you're not getting
the Jets defensive linemen have not generated the pass rush that we've expected them to generate. Now, some could say that's because Sheldon Richardson's there and then it's overcrowded and we're subbing them out. I think the Jets will trade Sheldon Richardson. We're going to touch on that in just a second. And Alex, I guess last one for you here. Reuben Foster. Kyle, I know you're very high on him. He obviously had the
he's very high.
That's a weird laugh. Obviously Reuben Foster has some off the field issues. But if the Jets were to bring him in, an inside linebacker, some have said that maybe the Jets could try moving Darren Lee to outside linebacker, even though he's undersized. Because that does seem to maybe fit what he could do well, and then you could have Jordan Jenkins play on first and second down, and Lorenzo Malden come on third down on the other side. How would you feel about drafting Reuben Foster? Definitely a more prototypical inside linebacker. You could either, and that Darren Lee thing is just a hypothetical. You could either cut bait with David Harris either right now or probably more likely at the end of the year, and then just start Darren Lee and Reuben Foster inside as your two inside linebackers. Or you could move Darren Lee to outside linebacker, have David Harris and Reuben Foster inside with that Lorenzo Malden and Jordan Jenkins on the other side. So how would you feel about Reuben Foster? Again, not necessarily a huge need for the Jets, but again, Mike McCabe loves to take the best player available, and I could totally see the Jets, or specifically Todd Bowles, falling in love with an Alabama defender.
When I first started doing, all my scouting with all these players, and I was watching Reuben Foster a lot, and I really was kind of hoping that if the Jets were to get a linebacker early, he was my number one linebacker on my board for the 6th pick. And then when I started to hear about his injury concerns with the shoulder and everything like that, some red flags, and you really have to go with your safest and, the best player available when you're in the top 10. So, getting a guy like him I thought would be perfect for our offense, because when I think about when our 3-4 scheme was at its best, a lot of people, you can knock them if you want to, but Bart Scott and Demario Davis, the roles that they had as an inside linebacker for this attacking 3-4 is they were the guys that shot in between the A and the B gap. They were cutting off, actually great defensive tackles that we had as Chris Jenkins, and Damon Harrison Snacks. I think those guys were the centerpiece.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Sonny Boua does not get any love here.
Yeah, don't.
And I think that was one of the reasons why our 3-4 defense was so terrible last year, is because we lost Damon Harrison. Everyone doesn't realize how much and how important he is taking on that double team and giving Muhammad Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson and Leonard Williams one-on-one versus an offensive lineman when he's taking on the double team or blowing up the backfield, and then the running back has to come up into the middle and give passing protection into the middle of the offense rather than going on the outsides and leaving our pass edge rushers to get to the quarterback. So I really feel that the centerpiece, a defensive tackle, is what kind of is the nucleus of this 3-4, and part of that is having a good blitzing inside linebacker. And Reuben Foster would be that missile that we've missed for a very long time in this 3-4 scheme.
So you're saying that because we no longer have snacks.
Spin zone, everybody. Hold on. Spin zone.
I didn't say
Kyle.
spin zone. I was actually
I'm
taking
snacks.
realistic sometime. You're saying because the Jets' defensive line doesn't have snacks, they're no longer feasting and we're starving?
Yes, for 100%. You know,
Right,
I thought McClendon was a good pickup. I think Deion Simon is a good draft for the 6th or the 7th round whenever we got him. But truthfully, we need to get another Chris Jenkins or Damon Harrison if we're going to continue to try to play a 3-4 scheme, because we really don't have that solid nose tackle, like I said, that can, you know, shut the run game down and clog up the middle and draw the double team and give us open up lanes for blitzing.
I'm surprised that Sheldon Richardson or Muhammad Wilkerson wasn't able to do that. And obviously that's not their natural position, and it's not. You know, I know the Jets have tried more of the three-man front of Leonard, Sheldon, Muhammad Wilkerson, but I'm surprised. I mean, a guy like Sheldon, who's fairly athletic and has played outside linebacker, for God's sakes, I'm surprised he wasn't able to fill what Damon Harrison did. Because if you were to tell me, you know, who's more talented, Damon Harrison or Sheldon Richardson, obviously this doesn't translate to who would play better nose tackle. I mean, it's obviously Sheldon Richardson. So I'm surprised that the Jets weren't able to find a way to get Sheldon, or even Mo for that matter, to play more of a defensive tackle role and plug that giant gaping hole that Damon Harrison left. So I don't know. That's just it's a little concerning, but I see exactly what you're talking about. The Jets front seven has its issues, and you know you can really trace it back to some of the secondary issues they had last year. I mean, it impacts the entire thing. When the Jets pass rush is not getting there, you're counting on Buster Screen, and now it's going to be Morris Claiborne and Calvin Pryor, etc. So it's a hold up for 4, 5, 6 seconds, and that's not a winning formula on defense. Alex, that was great stuff. Yeah, that was great stuff, Alex. We love it when you call in, man, and obviously you help out Kyle tremendously with Draft 'em. Go ahead and give out your information. You're one of my favorite callers, and I know you're definitely one of Kyle's favorite callers as well for your draft takes. Go ahead and give out your email, or it's not your email, your Twitter, so our listeners can give you a follow.
Guys, always, you know, a pleasure being on the show with you, talking about the Jets, and, you know, draft day is it's finally approaching us, so I'm really excited for it. I really hope the Jets get a great player. Somebody found, you know, a foundational piece for the future. And you guys can follow me at Rufio_187, and you can also give a look to Draft 'em. You know, it was a lot of fun doing that with you, Kyle, this year. I'm actually looking forward to next year. You take a little break and get right back to it and start working on 2018 once this is all wrapped up.
Yeah, Alex, I think Kyle. I don't know if Kyle's died or not, but I know Kyle loved your help on Draft 'em, and he's definitely looking to grow that and might look to add some more writers and stuff. But I read a lot of your pieces, Alex, and you did a tremendous job. Alex, last thing, really quickly, one word answer, or I guess a few word answers. What's your prediction for tomorrow night? I know you've already said who you want and stuff, but if you had to make one prediction, you know, whether that be the Jets are going to trade down, the Jets are going to take this. This surprising thing is going to happen. What's your one prediction for tomorrow night?
At the 6th pick, I really would like, you know, my guy would be Leonard Fournette, similar as you. But what I think what will happen is that if he is available, they will go with O.J. Howard and start there and bring in a big centerpiece to the blocking, passing scheme and a safety net.
Alex, there's David with the applause. Alex, good stuff as always, man. Look forward to hearing from you next week.
All right, fellas. Thanks a lot. Go Jets.
That was Alex, who again, as he mentioned, writes for Kyle's draft website, Draft 'em, which does some good stuff in analyzing a lot of draft pieces, and that's partly why Kyle has the upper hand on me in college football. Oh, there he's back, and I know I embarrassed myself with the NFL takes, which really bums me out. But no, Kyle and Alex do some tremendous work on Draft 'em, and definitely make sure to check them out. And they'll probably do some. I don't want to give anything, but they'll probably do some post analysis on that website, and then there's obviously next year. All right, Kyle, before we bring on our next caller, and we'll do that in just a second, I want to do a little exercise that I'm sure, I don't know if Kyle is still there because I know he's
Yeah,
there he is. All right.
You should know by now. Exercise is not on my own.
You're on your mute. I didn't know. We're gonna do an exercise that I know Mike McCagnon and the Jets brass has definitely done, and that is
you can
it's
confirm
easier to do when you're picking. And I would put my life on it.
Ben's an insult better.
Okay. It's 4 times. Definitely easier for the Jets to do picking 6. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Kyle, let's. I'm gonna give you a big board. I'm gonna give you the top 5 selections, and you're gonna tell me who you think the Jets would go, not who you want, but who you think the Jets would go with. So I'm gonna give you my top 5, my personal ones, then I'll throw some out. And I know the Jets have probably gone through 100 different scenarios. We'll do a few, and you tell me who you think the Jets would take. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring on our next caller, and then David will come on for the trivia question. We'll probably wrap it up. All right. In my mock draft, I had Myles Garrett, Mitch Trubisky, Jamal Adams, Leonard Fournette, and Solomon Thomas all off the board. Who are you going there? That leaves O.J. Howard, Malik Hooker. You could go Reuben Foster, Marshawn Lattimore, all sorts of guys. Who would you go for if those 5 are off the board?
If I'm Mike McCagnon.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You can do it as yourself. But realistically, as Mike McCagnon, who would you go with?
Well, I know who I would definitely go with, but I don't think the Jets would go with him.
Well, who is it?
O.J. Howard.
I think you don't. So you don't think Mike McCagnon will take a tight end?
No, he'll definitely go Marshawn Lattimore if he's sitting there. That's not a question.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to do this exercise as you, because clearly you are too in tune with Mike McCagnon's brain. Apparently, you think you take Marshawn Lattimore?
When you drink coffee, Ben, you should try it.
Okay. Kyle. Okay, fine. So we'll do it from your brain. So you say O.J. Howard if that happens. Okay. So a different sort of board. We'll say. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. So we'll say Myles Garrett, Mitch Trubisky, Jamal Adams. I'm doing this off the top of my head. So feel free to give me one here. Solomon Thomas and Deshaun Watson are all off the board. So the only one that adds is Leonard Fournette. So does that change your perspective on drafting O.J. Howard? If you're you, do you even consider Leonard Fournette if he's there? Or do you still stick with O.J. Howard?
If Leonard Fournette even crosses my mind, I will take a bullet. I'll put it like that.
Okay. So we'll say, he put himself back on mute. We'll say, okay, so now we're going to say O.J. Howard's off the board. We're going to say Myles Garrett is obviously off the board. Jamal Adams is off the board. Mitch Trubisky's off the board, and we'll mix it up. Malik Hooker's off the board. So that leaves you could go with Mitch Trubisky. I believe he's still on the board. You could go with Leonard Fournette, as you said, but you can't go O.J. Howard here. So who are you going there? Malik Hooker's on the board. Neither is your favorite safety. The one guy that fell is maybe Solomon Thomas. So do you consider Solomon Thomas, or are you going somewhere else, such as Reuben Foster, Christian McCaffrey, Hassan Reddick, Marshawn Lattimore, Deshaun Watson, etc.? And Kyle is nowhere to be found. Look at that.
My bad. I forgot.
There he is.
I actually answered. I said I'll go with McCaffrey.
You'd go with McCaffrey at 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
You say that like it's a shocking.
We're gonna end this exercise early just because of that. We'll go ahead and bring on.
Why is that shocking? David, you know absolutely nothing about the draft. You can't.
Okay. Look at Kyle getting all defensive. We're gonna go ahead and bring on Justin just because that.
Whoa! That's insulting.
Kyle, I mean, you're putting yourself on mute every 5 seconds, and you weren't giving any analysis or.
Hey, my
you know,
my Coyotes.
I'm gonna go McCaffrey. Yeah, and you put yourself back on mute. I was like, what was that? Just.
What do you mean? What was that?
Give some analysis, for God's sake. You're saying Christian McCaffrey at 6.
McCaffrey's the best running back in the class. I'm not going to consider Leonard Fournette because I don't want to pick a dude in the top 10 who's only going to last 5 years. I don't think we should go Mitch Trubisky because, our luck.
So you're saying McCaffrey doesn't have any tread in his tires either?
I'm saying he doesn't have nearly as much as Leonard Fournette.
But so you're saying the difference between them is so as far as okay, if you're to ignore the 5-year timeline that you have created in your head for Leonard Fournette, if you're to ignore that and you're just look at college on-field production,
I'd still go McCaffrey. I still go McCaffrey.
Interesting. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring on Justin, who we know will have some fire takes. Justin, man, how's it going, man?
What's up, guys? How are we doing tonight?
We're very excited.
We're cooking.
Kyle, what is this? What is this? Get back in your other seat. You are the analyst here, Kyle. I know I've missed, but go sit down. You're going to analyze.
You got to earn your rights, Ben.
Okay, Kyle. Justin, we're very excited. The draft is obviously tomorrow night. We're working on our touching up our mock drafts, and it'll be fun. But Justin, I've asked this to all our callers on the show. Who's your pick, number 6, tomorrow night?
O.J. Howard.
Going to go with?
Yep.
O.J. Howard. That's another for O.J. Howard.
Wow.
Por qué? For those who don't speak Spanish, why?
Why? Safest pick in the draft. Guy's a stud.
Eloquent.
Once in a generation.
He said that like John
him.
Oliver.
All right, well, a man of many words, Justin is.
A guy like O.J. Howard doesn't come around often. Maybe I'd say once a decade. So, safest pick in the draft would help a young quarterback, whether it be Hackenberg or Petty. So, I mean, it's really a no-brainer. The guy's a good blocker, can help the offensive line. Unless Jamal Adams is on the board when we pick, which I don't think he's going to be, O.J. Howard is the guy.
All right. I'll play devil's advocate. You said, once-in-a-generation type talent. When's the last time there was a true free safety in the draft? I would say 2007, Earl Thomas.
Oh, my.
Well, I mean,
we haven't really had Earl Thomas.
We haven't really had a true safety since Kerry.
No, he was not drafted in 2007.
What? I'm pretty sure he was drafted in 2007 out of Texas. Pretty confident.
No.
In that. I'll
wow.
check.
No, you're wrong, Kyle. It was like 2012 or something. It was 2011. I think it was 2011.
That's the same year, Ben. Come on.
2007 and 2011 are not the same thing.
7-11 Illuminati confirmed. Just go with it.
Okay, he was drafted. He went to Texas. You were right. 2010. So I was one off.
All right.
Just 2010. Kyle,
well,
come on. 2007 is not the same as 2010. Anyways,
well,
continue, Justin.
That's almost a decade. All right, Justin, come on. You got to do.
Wow,
right, so
Kyle's really carrying the show here. Okay, you know what? I'll carry the show here, Justin. Justin, I know we were having the safety argument before. We were talking about Adams and Hooker. If Hooker is on the board, I'll give you a top 5 just because I did this with I did this with Kyle. Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, Jamal Adams, Leonard Fournette, and Solomon Thomas are all taken. Are you going with Malik Hooker there as a free safety?
No, I told you. I'm going with O.J. Howard if he's on the board. And Jamal
Sorry, I messed that as my fault. I know, I am listening. It says Leonard Fournette. I meant to say O.J. Howard there. Sorry. Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, Jamal Adams, and O.J. Howard, and Solomon Thomas are all off the board. Who do you go with there?
Okay, then I go with Malik Hooker. Simple. I mean, to be honest with you, this is a very not that hard because O.J. Howard.
Oh, really?
Malik Hooker, or O.J. Howard, Malik Hooker, or Jamal Adams, depending who's on the board. That's who we're taking. It's really not that hard of a pick at 6. We're not taking a quarterback. We're not taking this guy who you think Leonard Fournette is 6. I'd throw my remote through the TV if we get Leonard Fournette at 6.
I'm resigning from the jet take.
This guy's going to last about 4 years in NFL. 2, he's not very versatile. And 3, he's not the best running back in the draft. I've been saying it for a while. Christian McCaffrey is the all-around better running back. He can pass catch. He can play special teams. And he's just more a versatile back.
As far as the new age type of running backs, Christian McCaffrey is probably more of the mold. You see guys like Deion Lewis in New England, and obviously Christian McCaffrey would hope to be a better guy than Deion Lewis.
Absolutely.
But he's a rich man's Deion Lewis is probably the ceiling for Christian McCaffrey, and that's not an insult to him. I'm saying he can be that type of guy, but even better.
That's a board. We'll have to discuss that.
Yep. If we trade back.
But hold on, there was a big but there. I think Leonard Fournette, and obviously as Jeff said, Justin, you're very. I know you're very hard-lined on your opinions, but just hear me out here. As Jeff said, he's a man of, he likes the older football, ground and pound. I'm telling you, if you're going to go out there and trot Christian Hackenberg as your starting quarterback, and we have no idea how he is, but it's not going to be. It's not like he's going to be out there and he's going to be Joe Montana. I'm not saying he can't be a good quarterback. We don't know what he is. He can very well be a solid quarterback. But you're going to look at the 2009 Mark Sanchez approach if the Jets are starting Christian Hackenberg. It's going to be a lot of running the football, ground and pound, easy throws, confidence, plays, and play a great defense. That's the winning formula for the Jets if they're going to do anything next year, although they're not expected to. Now, Leonard Fournette is the best ground and pound running back to come out in years. And now, Ezekiel Elliott, is probably that might have been a little bit. Maybe I'll get that to Ezekiel Elliott. But as far as ground and pound, smash mouth football, fourth quarter, he's going to get those 15 carries, as Jeff said. He's the way to go. He reminds me of Adrian Peterson. I think he's going to be a fantastic running back in this league. And I might eat my words, as I said, but you might as well. I don't think he's going to the Jets. I don't see the Jets picking him. But I'm just going to say that I am saying it now that Leonard Fournette will be a good running back in this league, and I might be wrong. But as far as the Jets, if they want to win, you can either go with the tight end, the safety valve, be the Dustin Keller. I'm just going to keep going with the 2009 Jets team. You can be the Dustin Keller, a better Dustin Keller, obviously. But I'm just saying that running game, you pair him with Bilal Powell. I think that would be an amazing duo. You take a lot of pressure off Christian Hackenberg, and then he can look to dish it out to Nunwan, Decker, and whatnot. I think that would be a nice way to definitely help out the poor offensive line.
Right. I mean, running back was not a big issue last year. That's what you guys are not. That's what all of you people are forgetting. Running back,
but it wasn't. But Justin, just because it wasn't an issue doesn't mean it was a benefit to this team. It wasn't like, we're afraid of Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. I mean, Matt Forte, I don't mean to say anything. I know he had a few games where he looked solid. The Buffalo one, he looked good. But, Justin, give me a chance to speak here. I'm just saying that the Jets running game wasn't...
Let him speak.
The Jets running game wasn't terrible, you're right, but it wasn't good. It was just kind of middle of the pack, and I know Bilal Powell really turned it on at the end of the year, but let's be honest, he's done that the last few years. He has not been able to stay healthy. He has not been given a chance to be that every down back. We don't know if he can be. So I'm just saying, to say that, they weren't terrible last year, that's not a reason not to draft one. When you see a once-in-a-generation type talent like Leonard Fournette, you take it.
I don't think that's accurate.
And I know you guys don't think that. But I'm just saying, as far as guys who could really help Christian Hackenberg and these young QBs succeed, Leonard Fournette is definitely one of them. And I know I have a pretty good indication that I think the Jets are probably going to take Malik Hooker or somebody like that. But as far as who's going to help this team, a guy like Leonard Fournette would help this team much more than Malik Hooker.
You could help Christian Hackenberg by getting him a great target like Kellen Winslow-esque in
Kellen Winslow. Or we say junior or senior here?
I don't think anybody got the joke there. Re-listen to it later.
Wait, what would you say?
I said you
Leonard Fournette at 6 would be a giant mistake.
Justin, whoa. Just cut me off. Territory, man. Territory.
Okay, well, I agree to disagree. I know you made the Target parking lot joke. Now, we can really disagree there, Justin. But no, I think Leonard Fournette would be a solid pick. However, that said, I'm not going to be upset if the Jets take.
I got a question for you. How long do you think Leonard Fournette is going to be in the league for?
Ooh, spin zone.
I think he's going to last longer than 5 years. I think, obviously, the lifespan.
I highly doubt.
Kyle, can we just say, Kyle, how would you know? Are you Leonard Fournette's doctor? I'm just going to say, you have never met this man.
No, I'm the guy that's been watching.
You've watched him on tape, and you've been like, 5 years. I'm just saying you can have your opinion, but don't be like.
Whole year. He's always got some sort of leg injury.
Okay. Let's just put people on mute for a second. Justin.
Shoot me when you're gone for 5 weeks. All right, let me make my.
I was gone for a week, and then I missed another week, and then I missed. I've been on and off. I didn't just miss a month. Consecutively. Well, no. So here's what I'm saying, and I'll unmute Justin. But I think
you just muted everybody.
Yeah, I had to give myself a room to talk, but it didn't even work because I didn't even get any words out. My point is Kyle, you can have your opinion. You can say I think he's only going to be in the league for 5 years, and Justin, you can too. But you can't say I'm going to lose all credibility because let's be honest, nobody knows. He could tear his ACL week 1, or he could play in this league for 10, 12 years and be a Hall of Fame running back. All right,
I agree with that.
It's not one of those things where if you're saying injuries are it's an unpredictable thing. As far as where I think he'll land, I think he'll be a 7 to 10 year running back in this league, and I think he'll be a damn good one.
Oh, really?
I'm not. No, here's the thing.
I'm not saying 9 and 10 will be good.
I'm saying Leonard Fournette. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad running back, but I mean for this team, we can get a running back later in the draft. And we got to address other positions.
But you can do that same argument with tight end, Justin. I mean, let's look at it.
No.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
No. There's a difference.
Can everybody just... Here's what we're going to do.
O.J. Howard.
Here's what we're going to do. Justin.
No
5, 6.
Justin. Leonard Fournette is going to be... Leonard Fournette is going to be the...
Come on, man.
Could be the
Come on. All right. He's just going to put him on mute again until he just stops. I'm going to give Justin his chance to talk. I know he is. I'm gonna give him his chance to talk, and Kyle, you're gonna get the same. But I'm gonna say this without being interrupted, and just give me my 35 seconds here or whatever it's gonna take. The same argument you can use for running backs, saying there's plenty of great running backs later, is the same argument you can use for tight ends. This is the best class for tight ends. This is the best class for tight ends in years. Okay, so you can get it going in the second round and in the third round that are going to be So I'm not saying that are going to be as amazing as O.J. Howard, but to use the same argument. I'm just going to keep muting him. Kyle, I said give me my time to speak. Look at this. He's pathological. Kyle, just simmer down.
You're just completely wrong on this.
Simmer down. I didn't say anyone was similar to O.J. Howard. I'm just saying you can get a very good tight end in round 2. My point being is that you can have an average to good tight end and still succeed in this league.
I can do that.
You don't need an all-pro tight end to be amazing in this league. Look at Atlanta. Look at Atlanta. Kyle, who was Atlanta's tight end?
Levine Toilolo, and then the guy that went along
not
with
Levine Toilolo. Not Levine Toilolo. Look at this. Right? I cue him looking it up.
My camera's right here. I'm actually playing with my dog. And then the Patriots, Rob Gronkowski was hurt, but then Martellus Bennett.
Okay, the point was it was Jacob Tamme. And if you were to ask somebody, Kyle, dude, close your mouth. Practice just not talking. How about that, okay? We're good. All right. If you were to ask somebody to name their top 5 tight ends in this league, I guarantee you Jacob Tamme would not pop into this. My point being is you can have an explosive offense and a great team without the greatest tight end in the world. I still think you need one. Look at the top teams. Kyle, oh my God. My Jesus, Kyle. All right, I'm just dropping it. I mean, he'll join the call. He just cannot just be quiet for like 5 seconds. Justin, I'm going to unmute you as well. But my point being, Justin, was that you can have a solid tight end still win in this league. And if you're going to start a young QB such as Christian Hackenberg, you're going to need a damn good running game. And I don't know if Bilal Powell and Matt Forte are going to bring that. So I'm saying if you can bring Leonard Fournette in, I think he's going to be a fantastic running back. You may disagree. So for all intents and purposes, you can sub in Christian McCaffrey here because you think he's the better of the 2 running backs. But if the Jets can get a very good running back and a solid tight end, you do that. But if they're going to get a very, very good tight end and a solid running back, I think that's probably a little less important. Still good, but not as important. So that was just my point. As far as positional, importance, running back is definitely more important than tight end. Now, Justin, you can say all the words you want. That was a long rant.
If you can use him properly, no, it's not. O.J. Howard was not even used properly last year. That's the funny part. He can put up bigger numbers than he did last year at Alabama.
How can you say, okay, just because I don't want to be a hypocrite, you can talk, but just answer this. How could he have been used better? As the armchair coach, how are you better than Nick Saban?
I'm just going by what people are saying because that's what I heard from all the scouts because I don't really watch college too much, to be honest, but That's what everyone's saying, that O.J. Howard was not used properly. But I want to ask you a question. How many Pro Bowls do you think Leonard Fournette will make by the time his career is over?
I mean, again, this depends on how long he plays. If we're going to use Kyle's, I guess we'll use mine. Let's say he plays 8 years in this league. I think he can make a damn good amount of them. 4. Maybe I'll say 4. 4 or 5, something like that.
You know
4
what?
or 5, yeah.
I want to make a little wager with you. I want to see. I'm going to say O.J. Howard makes more Pro Bowls than Leonard Fournette. Take that to the book and get that on record right now for this episode. Because
I think I'll be 30 years old when that happens. But how about this? We can do, just because for the sake of actually coming through on this wager, we'll do at the end of the year. Now, this could be debatable, but we'll do a Twitter poll, I guess. At the end of the year, we'll come back to this. I'll write this down. I'll set myself a reminder on my phone. At the end of the year, who had the better rookie year, O.J. Howard or Leonard Fournette? I'm going to say Leonard Fournette. You're going to say O.J. Howard.
Right,
well,
yeah.
I get it depends on where they go, but yes.
Yeah, that's true too.
My point is, I don't think O.J. Howard's going to be bad in this league. I think O.J. Howard's going to be a damn good tight end. I'm just saying that I think for the Jets right now, and obviously O.J. Howard, if he wins the Jets, hallelujah, he can help the offensive line, he can help the receiving game. I'm just saying I think Leonard Fournette, you add him to the mix, that's a guy that is a game changer. I think that's a guy. I mean, you look at. I know it's not about jersey sales, Justin. I know it's not about jersey sales, but you look at it like whose jersey are you going to buy on the Jets right now? There's hardly anybody. You know, I mean, unless you want to walk around in a 92 jersey. Well, Justin, I'm just saying, but unless you want to walk around in a number 92 jersey, there's not many that are actually legitimate. Leonard Fournette is that guy, and I'm not saying that he's your franchise cornerstone.
So is O.J. Howard.
If he is what, but here's the difference: he's your Ezekiel Elliott, your Odell Beckham Jr., your guy, and O.J. Howard might be that. He might be the next Rob Gronkowski. But the boom bust,
it's not
the
about
ratio of
jerseys,
if he is or if he's not.
That's the thing you guys don't get. It's not about selling jerseys. It's about getting the.
I know it's not about selling jerseys. I know it's not about selling jerseys. But my point is that I think it's more realistic. Let's put it this way: if the Jets take a tight end at 6, and he doesn't, and he's okay, right? It is less of an impact on the team than if they take a running back at 6 and he's okay. That doesn't make sense when you say it. But my point is that tight ends do not have as much of an impact on the game as a running back does. And
yes,
and I might eat my words.
Properly.
If you keep saying that, but dude, you're looking at Nick Saban, maybe the best college coach of all time, possibly, and you're saying that you and all the scouts would know how to use him better. Even though you've never, I'm just saying, like, in college football, too. I'm just saying, look, I think both players are going to be good in this league. I think both players would tremendously help out this team. They're both needs, but that's just, I think that Leonard Fournette, if he is what I think he's going to be, and he might not, and I might eat my words, and whatever wager we'll make, we'll figure something out. I might eat my words, but if he's what I expect him to be, I think he's a complete game changer for this team, and he can change this franchise. You can have Hackenberg handing him and Bilal Powell the ball. The Jets can have a very explosive running game and a tremendous defense. Or maybe they'll go tight end and have the nice, safety valve, help out in the running game and whatnot. I think Leonard Fournette will have bigger of an impact. But I think that's a moot point because I don't think the Jets are going to go with either of them. So I honestly, I mean, it's possible they could, but in my draft I haven't gone Malik Hooker. So. I'll mute. I realize Kyle's been muted this entire. I was wondering why I was so quiet. Kyle.
You're so incredibly wrong about Alabama. They're like one of, for where they get every year, which is basically because of Nick Saban and his defense, because Nick Saban doesn't have any control over his offense. That's why he fires an offensive coordinator every 2 years. They were the 96th ranked offense in college football. That's not good for D1. I mean, that's average.
Yeah, but shouldn't that prove? Shouldn't that help?
They don't use anybody right. They never have a quarterback.
How are you going to say that they don't use anybody right? Maybe that's not the issue. You just ignore.
An exception to Amari Cooper.
Maybe
and
they're not
Howard.
that. Okay. So you're saying that the reason that Alabama's offense is not good is that Nick Saban is misusing them.
Not necessarily Nick Saban.
So how would you have used O.J. Howard?
Control over the
Kyle,
offense.
how would you have used O.J. Howard differently than what Nick Saban did?
I definitely would have used him.
Then one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. How would you have used him differently?
First of all, you don't even realize that he doesn't call the offensive plays. He has no control.
I understand he did. I know Lane Kiffin did. But I'm just
Lane Kiffin did. Steve Sarkisian.
All intents and purposes,
every guy before
it is Nick Saban's team. And if Nick Saban sees that they're misusing him wrong, he's going to say something. So that's the reason I was using Nick Saban. But fine. How would you have used him differently than Lane Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian?
I would use him as a passing attack tight end instead of an inline tight end.
But how would you have known that O.J. Howard was going to be an amazing passing tight end if you've never seen him in practice? That's the point I'm just saying. Like, you're making these bold, outlandish statements, but it's like, really, none of us in this podcast right now, Justin, me, or yourself, know anything about what O.J. Howard would be or is going to be. So I would put a lot of money that Lane Kiffin has more of an idea of what the type of player O.J. Howard is going to be.
That's what he's going to be.
What?
What'd you say, Justin?
Stud. What I read.
Oh no, I'm not disputing O.J. Howard's going to be good. I'm just saying that to say that they're misusing him, they might have been, but I think I'm going to trust the Alabama football coaches that we're seeing him every single day in practice than us three who are watching him from a television screen in Florida, Portland, and New York.
I'll also watch or go by the fact that he absolutely torched the Gators secondary in that SEC championship game 2 years in a row.
So did they misuse him wrong then? Did they misuse him wrong then?
No, well, they never threw to him because the quarterbacks always suck. There's actually one very specific play that could have put the game on ice, but then Florida got a kick return for a touchdown after. O.J. Howard in the back of the end zone, wide open. Marcus May completely missed them in his assignment. So,
well, this is a moot point. I think both players are going to be good. I'm just saying if Leonard Fournette hits his ceiling and O.J. Howard hits his ceiling, I think Fournette
O.J. would
definitely be the better.
If we pick Leonard Fournette,
if they both hit their ceiling, I think Leonard Fournette would hit his.
I strongly disagree with that.
Justin, what?
We pick Leonard Fournette at 6. I think my remote's going through my TV.
Yeah, I quit the jet take.
Dude, I will make this. But I don't think the Jets are going to take him. But Justin, it's always fun having you on the show. You bring a lot of energy. I mean, before you brought you on, Kyle was chewing an apple or whatever he was doing.
I got a question. What do you guys think about Kevin King?
McCaffrey. What?
What do you guys think about Kevin
David,
King?
shut up.
I'm hoping he falls to the second round because he fits our scheme and he's a stud. I doubt he falls to round 2 though.
I have him going.
Which player?
Kevin King, defensive back from.
I see.
Washington. You should know him, Ben. He's up by you.
Wow.
I have him
behind me.
I have him going to Atlanta at 31. So if he falls, we could get him.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. I think there are plenty, and Jeff even brought it up. There are plenty of very good corners that are going to be available when the Jets pick their second. That's why I don't think the Jets should go with Marshawn Lattimore at 6.
Hell no. Marshawn Lattimore.
Refrain from offensive language. Not everybody believes.
No, but my point is I think the Jets are going to have plenty of good corners to pick from.
Corners. This is the biggest corner draft in years. Corners, I'm not worried about that. There's plenty of those.
Oh yeah, because we have tons of them.
Well, Justin, good stuff as always, man. Go ahead and give out your Twitter so our listeners can give you a follow.
Oh, good stuff, guys. Justin2413.
Justin, good stuff, man. We look forward to talking to you next week, talking about the whole Jets draft. And look, if O.J. Howard or...
Get your O.J. Howard jersey ready.
And Ben died. I think Ben died. Justin, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Ben died on us. I just want to say, you're absolutely right. Ben's completely wrong on this. The running back core is definitely by far the best group in this draft. And
I like Kelvin Kamara too from Tennessee.
Yeah, the tight end class is good, but there is not one tight end that can block and be as athletic as O.J. Howard. There's nobody that even compares to him as a player. And you look at a guy like Leonard Fournette. There are plenty of bulldozer running backs who have speed in this draft. James Conner, a guy that you can get in.
Yeah, that's who I mentioned on the show 2 weeks ago. James Conner in the 4th round. That's who I wanted.
Alvin Kamara, Dante Foreman. The list goes on and on. Joe Mixon, if you want to take a flyer on him, he's a very talented individual.
No.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Joe Mixon is very talented, but we've already covered that Mike McCagney would not dare take him due to his wife's
I'm staying away from guys.
But his wife is heavily involved in domestic violence survivors, and it would just not be a great PR for her husband to now take one of the most let's say in the spotlight, I guess is the term.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the right word. Running backs, but I do think Joe Mixon is a very talented running back. Anyways,
absolutely.
Justin, I cut out when I was wrapping it up, but Justin, thank you so much for calling in, man. I do really appreciate it.
Good stuff.
And hopefully we'll be talking next week about who the Jets selected.
Yep. Hopefully you guys will be getting your O.J. Howard jerseys in the mail.
We definitely will.
Good stuff.
See you, Justin. Yeah, no, most likely. I mean, if the Jets go with somebody that's at least somewhat cool, then I think I'll probably get their jersey because I haven't gotten a Jets jersey in forever, and it is my birthday, so we'll see.
I would never buy a running back jersey. I just never would. Because they're literally.
You wouldn't if Ezekiel Elliott was on this team, you wouldn't buy Ezekiel Elliott's jersey. If Adrian Peterson was on this team, you wouldn't buy their jersey. If we had Barry Sanders, you wouldn't buy their jersey.
Especially not Adrian Peterson. No.
I'm saying Adrian Peterson in his prime. You're telling me you wouldn't draft if Leonard Fournette came here, wore 21 and was just dope and scored 25 touchdowns, you'd buy his jersey, Kyle.
No, I wouldn't.
So whose jersey? If you had to buy a jersey, who would you buy in that scenario?
The only guy on the team I think worth even considering is Leonard Williams. He's the only one that's...
So you're telling me you wouldn't buy a running back jersey, but you would rock a defensive lineman 92 jersey?
The dude's basically an all-pro player, and I'm pretty confident that he'll be with us for much longer than a running back will be, just based on average career length. Like I want to get.
I don't think the 92 looks that good as far as something I'm gonna wear around. I don't know. We're rocking a 92. Like on the field, he looks amazing, better than the 62 he originally came out with. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and bring on Gang Green David, our producer, our what is he now? The
honorable
Bowl producer.
Yeah.
Honorable mention producer David with a trivia question for Kyle and ourselves. David, take it away.
All right, before I give out this trivia question, Ben, I actually do agree with your takes on Leonard Fournette. I think he would be.
Explains it all.
Let me finish, Fahey. I do agree with your takes on Leonard Fournette. I think I would be okay with the Jets drafting him, but unfortunately, I would actually have to side with Kyle and Justin. I would actually rather have the Jets draft O.J. Howard than Leonard Fournette because not only would O.J. Howard last long in the NFL, I think O.J. Howard would be a better playmaker than Leonard Fournette would be. So. And
I was just going to say, how are we supposed to know that O.J. Howard's going to last longer than the NFL? O.J. Howard could break his neck week 3. Like, to make a pick based off, he's going to last way longer. Like, that's years down the line. You have no idea how this is going to play out. I understand if you're saying he's more talented, or you think he'll be a franchise cornerstone, or he's a playmaker. But to say, he's definitely going to last more. It's football. There are 22 guys. 22 men on the field, jacked guys that are slamming their bodies into each other. Injuries are bound to happen. You never know. O.J. Howard could be an injury-prone player, and so could Leonard Fournette. I'm just saying to make statements like that, it's a little outlandish. David, anyways, you have a trivia question for Kyle and ourselves. Why don't you go ahead and give it out?
Okay, so tonight's trivia question is going to be about Jet players coming out of a very specific school.
No, I know this one.
This is USC.
Yeah, it's USC, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We get the point.
Yeah,
okay, so the trivia question for tonight is, first of all, no, that is not USC.
What?
How many Jet players that we had in our entire franchise that have came out of Ohio State?
Oh, that's Ohio State Buckeyes, yeah. Okay.
I definitely thought that was USC.
So do we have to name them, or do we have to just say a number? How many in the history of the New York Jets have come out of Ohio State?
Well, not necessarily drafted, but yeah, how many players have the Jets had that have played in Ohio State?
That's almost impossible, David. Jeez.
So can you give us a range?
Like
so
range?
0 and 50?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a range from 0 to infinity.
Wow.
Wow.
That's some trigonometry crap right there. I'm going to go ahead and take a wow. take a
Dude, this
shot
is
at
like picking a number between 1 and 100.
Yeah,
What type of trivia? Give us a better trivia question than that. You know what?
No, this is my
Dave,
trivia question that I
honorable
thought
mention,
of.
No.
producer.
You are not an honorable mention anymore. Okay? You're second string now.
honorable.
You know what? Please respect back.
Answer the
You know,
question.
I'll give us a nice trivia question just
No.
because we were talking about the tight end positions. No, this one is for Kyle and you, David. So feel free to text me the answer.
No,
looking it up.
No. Answer my question. You have to answer my question.
Okay, well, I'll make
That's
a
the
guess.
Yeah, take a guess. That's fine. We'll see who's close.
We'll see who's closer. All right, I made mine. That was a random guess.
I put 2 in, so go ahead and put 2 in, Ben.
2? No, I'm picking 1.
No, just Kyle. Just choose one. The
All
first
right,
or second one.
I'll go with 56.
Both of you. Well, Ben's closer, but the answer was 7.
No.
I said 34.
No,
Kyle's
completely wrong.
56.
Completely wrong. There's no way we've only had 7 players.
Nick
in our-
Mangold, Darren Lee, Devin Smith. Are you saying like on this team right
Antonio Holmes,
now?
DeVar Posey, and Vernon Goldson.
Jalen Marshall.
And
There
Jalen
has-
Marshall.
Jalen Marshall?
Still has to be more than 7 all time.
Give me a second. I can think of
fact
one.
check this. I'm gonna go fact check this.
Okay, well, mine, Kyle, for Kyle and David, just because I think that was a pretty poor question. We'll tweet this out as well. What college let's do some college themed ones.
No, David.
Let's do some college themed ones. Kyle and David, please text me your answers. What college did Dustin Keller attend? And Kyle Hands, do not search this up.
Yeah. No. Actually, wait.
I'm trying to think.
Don't look it up. You have 6, 5.
No, you're not giving
4,
us a timer, Ben.
3.
Screw you.
If Kyle gets this right, I know he cheated. But
My dog's
come on,
trying
guys.
to vocalize.
All right, David has submitted his answer, and Kyle.
I'm gonna.
If none of you guys get this right, then I'll.
That's
No, both of you are incorrect. It is Purdue.
Of course.
That was it.
You know he sucks.
So.
That's
Good job.
natural.
Great job there. Anybody? We need to get one trivia question where one of us gets it right. David, can you think of another one off the top of your head where either Kyle and I get it right so we can end this godforsaken show?
Okay.
Calm down.
Okay. You want a trivia question? Fine. When did Bilal Powell have his first career touchdown?
That's bull crap.
Okay. No. What? Actually, I can think. I know.
Of course you do.
I know this one exactly. I remember this moment.
Was it in a throwback game against the Titans?
I might be wrong. Technically, I am right. Technically, I am right.
The game or the year?
Statistically, I
the game or the year?
Kyle, what's your answer?
I think I'm actually wrong on this.
You are wrong, Ben.
Yeah, but I might explain it. So I said 2011 versus the Denver Broncos. That was the game that Tim Tebow led us down the field. But the reason I said that is because he was on the goal line, and he runs up the middle, and he fumbled, and then Matt Slauson, our left guard, picked it up and scored the touchdown. So
that doesn't count.
Okay, fine. Give me another one then.
So yeah,
I got another guess then. Let me think.
Well, I'll just start guessing then.
Chargers.
Yeah, I can't even think. I'll just say. I don't even know. I have no idea. David, what's the answer?
I'm gonna say that the answer was against the New England Patriots on that Thanksgiving slaughter.
Okay, oh yeah, you're right. I think that was it. Okay. Can we get a good trivia question here?
All right, I got you, boys. I got you.
Kyle's up. We've all submitted our own. David has let us down.
Kyle's coming in clutch. All right, ready?
I came in with one that was too hard.
Well, yeah.
Oops.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Okay.
Kyle, give us one that's at least reasonable. Don't give us some random.
I'm trying to think of one. I didn't have one.
Because we need at least one of us to get this right, so then we can end the show.
Yeah. What college has the most players currently represented on the Jets? This is actually pretty easy, if I'm right.
I submitted my answer. I think I'm right, but I don't know.
Did you text it to me?
Yeah.
I have you blocked, so hold on.
No, you do not.
Seriously, I do. See? I have the little...
We're in a group chat together.
No, the moon next to your name.
Okay, well, dude, you're showing my answer to David. Kyle, am I right?
No, he's not. I really don't care if I'm right.
David, I don't think there's one player... Oh, never mind. Yeah, there's like one. No, I'm pretty sure Ben's right. Ohio State.
Pretty sure. You didn't even check your... we're going to end the show. My God.
Let's end
Well, that was interesting. Last thing. Okay, just because we're all three on the mic, 2 minutes before we end this.
Yep.
Kyle, I thought you said you were going to... Okay. The dog is still alive.
It's Saturday. Calm down. All right. It's been a rough week.
It is Wednesday. So...
No.
That's not right.
It's happening.
Okay.
Saturday.
Anyways. Last bit of thing here, Kyle. Predictions for the draft tomorrow. I'm going to give you one. Do you think Sheldon Richardson will be on this team by Monday?
C.
David?
With no accent.
By Monday? I think he will be.
I don't think he is going to be. I think the Jets are going to trade him. They'll probably get a third or a fourth. I think the Jets just need to be done with him. All right, well, we'll give more analysis on that later. We're going to do a show Saturday night. We'll announce Friday night, excuse me.
Friday, yeah.
Friday night, we'll announce the time, and we'll get it all right and stuff. So we'll probably have it so we can we can be live during, I guess, the Jets' 2 third-round picks, I guess is how we'll do it. Because right now, because last time, because you can't get all of the picks, so you can't get. So I think we should do. We're going to give you a live look into our meeting process. But this way, if we do it, if we start it right around before
maybe we'll
the
stream
Jets
it live on YouTube. Maybe we'll do that.
Oh, we could do a live stream. We might do that. Well, we're going to start it probably.
You told me I'm not smart.
You did D+ in Spanish. We could do right before. The low blows.
Calm yourself down. Well, don't you have some DMs to say sorry in?
Wait, my DMs say what?
Never mind.
I don't even know what that joke was. We'll probably go live right before the Jets make their first third round selection, so we can talk about the first a bit. When I say right before, I mean 10 or 12 picks. We can talk about the first pick, the second pick. We can analyze the third pick live, and then towards the end of the show we'll have the second, third pick. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I know this was a little unorganized. We were another big thank you to Jeff Lloyd, who came on the show, gave some tremendous insight. As always, you can follow us at The Jet Take on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much any sort of platform. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. We're all over the place. Please go give us a like, subscribe, whatever, a thumbs up, a good review. But definitely make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is the best place to keep in touch.
Subscribe to Gangrene David on YouTube.
There we go. Yes, I was getting there. Gangrene David. Gangrene David on YouTube. We'll make sure to tweet out his latest videos when he comes out with them. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. And we will talk to you guys next week, or excuse me, on Friday. So in 2 days from now, and we'll see how the Jets are. We'll see the state of the Jets franchise. We wish everybody a happy rest of the week, and hopefully the Jets walk out of this draft with their new stars of this. Yeah, we want franchise cornerstones is what I was going to say. Anyways, guys, we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much, and go Jets. We'll end it with the best chant in the NFL. Obviously, the New York Jets, as this loads really slowly. Again, such guys.
OJ Howard over.
Mayonnaise on grilled cheese.